NBA, according to ESPN's Shams Charania, restricted free agent Josh Giddey agreed to a 4-year, $100 million deal to re-sign with Chicago, cements himself as the team's cornerstone at starting point guard. AL East leading Blue Jays put shortstop Bo Bichette on the injured list with a sprained knee.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. If you're a renter, make sure you're protected. Renter's insurance includes options that cover stolen property, personal injury, and living expenses if your place is damaged. Quote renter's insurance at progressive.com.
He's got the knowledge.
Because once again, I have to come on there and talk about how right I am once again. In anything that it comes to sports.
He's got the questions.
I'm going to lose it. Are you kidding me? What are we doing here?
He's got the guests.
20th head coach in Fresno State history here, Matt. Is it hard to believe sometimes still the 20th head coach here in program history?
It's all moved really quickly here over the course of the last 5-6 weeks. But super excited to be here.
Phil Bonatti is the voice for the Central Valley sports leader. Behind the Bench starts now. Brought to you by Helena Agri.
That's right, Behind the Bench here on this Tuesday, September 9th. How are we doing on this Tuesday? Fantastic to be here. Fantastic to get you going here for Behind the Bench Tuesday edition here on 1430 ESPN. Good to have you. Good to be here, like I said. Big thanks to Tony D for tossing it to us in the previous hour. Tony D Show, Sportsline Bulldog Hour, Tony D from 2 to 3 p.m. on the weekdays. Live and on demand on the ESPN Fresno app. That's right. It's the ESPN Fresno app now on the App Store and Google Play Store. So be sure to Google or search ESPN Fresno app. You'll be able to find it, download it for you, and have the convenience of our shows in the pocket of your phone. There you go. Like I said, Tony D Show, 2 to 3 p.m. My show from 3 to 6 p.m. on the weekdays. And Paul Metter Show, the Central Valley Sports Report, live on Saturdays from 10 a.m. to noon from First String Sports. So that's what we got for you here. We're streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Good to have you here. Hello to the audience who's watching us there. Be sure to like, subscribe, get those alerts out every time we go live with our show. We've got the Lee's Air Hotline, Lee's Air Plumbing, Heating, and Roofing. Lee's Air Hotline, 559-320-1430. The way to reach us here on the show, 559-320-1430. The way to reach our show. Lee's Air Weather Check sitting here at the top of our show. 83 degrees here in Fresno. Nothing higher than 84 today. Can't ask for anything better. We'll be at 82 tomorrow, 82 Thursday. Folks, enjoy it while we got it in terms of the cooler weather because we are certainly going to be falling into that fall-like weather soon. Get a little warmer next week. Nothing too crazy just quite yet, but folks, it's going to be fantastic as we get through it here. Good to be here. Good to be alongside some great people. Of course, we're going up till 6 o'clock today. Full show, 6 o'clock, taking you all the way up to Giants pregame. Giants and Arizona Diamondbacks, 6:15 pregame, 6:45 first pitch between the Giants and the Diamondbacks. Over on 790, it is the Grizzlies taking on the San Jose Giants, 6:35 pregame, 6:50 first pitch. Over on 790, Tim Slack on the call for the playoffs. Game 1 of the semifinals. I don't know exactly what the series is called, but the 3-game set against San Jose. Grizzlies looking to defend home field and take care of business there. So we will be there. I'm going to be heading over there later tonight. Just can't wait for that. Right after the show, we'll see you there if you're heading over to the game. Good show today. Good show for you as you listen in to today's show. We got Guy Haberman coming on here, the 49ers fill-in play-by-play guy, and also a guy you've probably heard of in the Fresno area back in the day. He comes on the Lee's Air Hotline in about 10 minutes or so. We'll talk 49ers and everything surrounding the football team. A lot of things happening right now with the football team. And we're going to talk a lot of Niners here at the top. We're going to recap, get you set, where are the question marks in this team. Of course, changes coming for this 49ers team moving forward as well. So we'll dive into that first hour. Second hour, we're going to spend a whole hour at Gabe Camarillo today. He's coming in studio from KMPH's side of things. We'll talk Fresno State football. We'll talk high school football, all of it here with the great Gabe Camarillo. So he's coming in, checking in. We'll hang out for an hour. And then in the third hour, we'll have my 5 at 5. We'll have my Bonatti Blitz. We'll wrap up the show, send it off to some baseball later in the evening. So that's what we got on the docket for you. Good to be here. Good to be joined by a couple of great guys who are over on the producing side of things today. Tanvir, first of all, good to have you back for a Tuesday. How are we doing?
Doing good. Awesome weekend for football. I think this was one of the more great NFL week ones that I've seen in a while. So that was definitely something that I really appreciated, along with the international soccer.
I would share that sentiment, except that did not reach my team, the Patriots, in terms of play. But we'll get into it all terms of that. And we got Daniel, who's going to be making his debut today. We'll go to him from time to time. Daniel, how are you doing on this Tuesday?
I'm doing all right. I'm getting over a cold right now. You can probably hear it in my voice. But I'm mainly focused on getting over this damn cold.
I know, man. I feel bad that we're putting the debut on and you got the cold voice going. So, I'll go easy on you today in terms of it. So, Chicken and Daniel's running the video side of things today and helping out where he can. But we're going to be here, like I said, it's going to be a shorter segment here at the top because I wanted to give some time. Guy Haber, we got a window to hit for him, so he's going to be joining us right at 3:15 today. Getting as much time as we can. He'll be here from 3:15 to 3:30, so we can make sure we get enough conversation with the guy, in terms of it. But I wanted to start here in terms of it. Now that we've seen a totality of Week 1 in terms of the NFL, including last night's Vikings game over the Bears, which, by the way, a lot of fun at Major Wager last night. If you did not get a chance to go to Major Wager last night, you want to come to Major Wager next time. We do Monday Night Football every week over at Mean Ed's Victory Grill. Be sure to be there. Carter, everybody does a great job in terms of hosting. Reminder about this coming week, because it's a doubleheader. It's not one of those weird one game starts and then the other game starts and then they kind of play concurrently. No, this is a old-fashioned doubleheader next Monday night. So we are going to do the second game of the Monday night doubleheader. That means Major Wager is not starting till 7 p.m. when the Raiders and the Chargers kick off. We're going to be there late night, hanging out till like 11 in terms of it, however long that game goes. So that's what we got for you. We reacted here and there to the NFL weekend last week, but I want to do some quick thoughts on the Bears-Vikings real quick. Interesting game last night. I thought that told me a lot about what the Vikings were in terms of a team that finds ways to win, that they do. I think Kevin O'Connell's got a really nice track record in doing that. And for as bad as it looked for J.J. McCarthy for quite some time, that is a gutty win if I've ever seen it from a guy who's making his first start in the NFL. And I was as impressed as anybody in terms of that comeback. What were you more impressed with J.J. McCarthy or more sitting on how bad the Bears were down the stretch?
I was definitely on the pessimistic side of things with Caleb Williams, because if you look at that first drive, I mean, my goodness, I thought the Bears were going to score like 30 points. But just it kind of devolved back into what we saw Caleb do last year, where it's a lot, sometimes overthrows, inconsistencies. I was impressed definitely with J.J. McCarthy with his fourth quarter performance, but I also think that's just part of the growing pains when it's your first game on the road, especially. I think I was more displeased, I would say, with the second half performance by the Bears, especially with how they played in that first quarter.
It helps for J.J. McCarthy when he has Aaron Jones doing what he did last night with getting Jordan Mason, some big key runs amazing. As well. The running game woke up in the fourth. And by the way, props to the Vikings for kind of trusting the run game there in that spot to still get them to come back. Some teams abandon it and throw it 40, 50 times. I'm looking at my Patriots. But in terms of the game plan, sticking with that down 11 felt like you just wore down that Bears defense, and trusted the fact that you'll eventually hit on some bigger runs, some sustained drives, and the Vikings found that. And I think that makes the Vikings a pretty dangerous team down the stretch if they can be inside their program like that and be willing to say, we're not going to mold, we're going to trust the game plan, the game plan will eventually work out.
Yeah, definitely. I think the 2 points that I really do want to hit for this game, one, for the Minnesota Vikings side, one, no Christian Darrisaw, and they were still able to run the football like they did, as you said, behind Jordan Mason, who I thought is clearly the RB1 there now, right?
Yeah.
Secondly, I love Kevin O'Connell, because when you have a quarterback who's playing their first game, I see sometimes that you'll see coaches kind of phone it in and be like, I don't want to get my rookie quarterback trying to do stuff or my first-time quarterback trying to do stuff. But I was so happy that he trusted J.J. McCarthy to go out there and make the plays that he did. Because at the end of the day, what is just folding it and just trying not to win the game at that point going to do for J.J. McCarthy? So, Kevin O'Connell is one of my favorite coaches, and I think that was indicative of that last night.
3 fourth-quarter touchdowns to put it away, basically, and beat the Bears. My last point on Caleb Williams, man, just lose the gray undershirt. I don't know what that was about.
Oh, it was horrible.
Just the lack of aura there in terms of that. I knew it was going to be trouble when he was wearing that kind of outfit. All right. Like I said, we got to take a quick break now because we want to hit this interview window. So we're going to take it now. Guy Haberman for the 49ers coming up next on 1430 ESPN Fresno, the Valley's local sports leader.
Get your business noticed and stand out from the crowd by visiting MegaPrints. Working with the Valley's most prestigious and high-profile businesses since 1998, we print and install custom-designed signs for businesses of all types and sizes. From yard signs to banners to wallpaper and fleet graphics, MegaPrints has the state-of-the-art capability to turn the signage you've dreamed of into a reality. Visit megaprints.com today to see our work and what we can do for your business.
At FFB, we know behind every business is a person. That's why we're more than a bank. We're a partner, a farming-focused bank for hard workers, a future-forward bank for big dreamers.
who are now, I don't know, freshmen in high school, something like that. I got to do the math. Maybe 8th grade. But it's great to talk to you.
Yeah, no, you don't have to do the math. It's fine. I do the math every day sometimes when I've been around for a little bit too. But Guy, it's good to have you, of course, and it's good to be talking some Niners here, right? Especially after a Niners victory. And first of all, I know I want to first speak to you, about this you're filling in for Greg Papa. Obviously, a team of guys are filling in for Greg Papa. But if you want to just talk about just having this opportunity, but talk about filling in for Greg Papa, who's been such an instrumental part of the 49ers. What is that like stepping in for you and so far this season?
Yeah, I mean, I left my, I was doing radio there in your seat until late 2012, and when I moved up to the Bay Area at the end of 2012, I was working at the same radio station as Greg, and so it became it was really cool. I was doing a radio show before his and would see him every day and talk to him and still talk to him a lot. And, I got very familiar with him. Anybody who's a fan of a team that is or was in the Bay Area, right? All the Raider fans in the Bay Area heard Greg for years, and he called Warriors and A's and Giants and 49ers for almost a decade now. So he's unique. He's really unique because he's excellent at what he does, and he's like every fan base has an affinity, right? And he's got a radio show, so he's just a part of the community. He really is. I mean, he makes the community feel big and small in a good way, like because everybody has a feeling for him. So as do I. So that's a challenge because he means a lot to me and a lot of other people, and he's battling cancer. But it's a situation made a little easier by the fact that everybody's aware of it, so everybody knows what's up, right? Like, yeah, it's Greg's job, and as soon as he's healthy enough to do it again, he'll do it again and do it at a very high level. And in the meantime, I'll run around and hope that I say the time and score enough, and hopefully we got a good football season. The Niners, it'd be cool if they open. If they are hosting the Super Bowl this year, it'd be cool if they're playing in it. So, but it's been fun. It's been fun. Somebody asked me the other day, "What was the last football game you called?" And I was like, "Oh, it was, I don't know, Clovis West Buchanan, probably on radio. The last game on radio, or maybe it was Sanger and whoever. I don't quite remember, but it's been fun."
No, that's great. That's great stuff. It's funny. It's funny where it all kind of leads to as far as that's concerned. But so far, you mentioned it. The Niners. You wanted to get to a good start here, and like you said, the hope to be having a Super Bowl where the Niners are at their home field. And obviously, you're off to a good start. They're weathering the storm, I would say. I think that's the theme of it right now with all of the potential injury stuff that's surrounding it. But a win is a win, and I think Kyle Shanahan and the staff will take it. And they took care of business up in Seattle. How gutsy was a performance like that, especially with everything that was up against them in that game as it kind of progressed?
Well, at one point during the game, I turned to the analyst, Tim Ryan, during a commercial break, and I said, man, losing this game is going to feel like hell, and winning this game is going to be such a relief for one of these two teams, And it really is an illustration. I mean, it's something they experienced a lot last year. If they had lost that game, it would have felt very familiar because they lost a lot of games like that last year, and it was painful. And they've. Then a Brock Purdy injury pops up, and we'll see if he plays this week. And George Kittle goes on IR, so he's out for 4 weeks with a hamstring, and we'll see what Jennings' status is. And so from that standpoint, it feels a little snake bit. And if they'd lost that game, it would have made it, really feel cursed. You feel cursed.
Yeah.
So I thought the fact that they were able to find a way for all the questions, we're going to have the ongoing debate, right? Like, how many games can Brock Purdy win without Debo and Ayuk and Kittle, and what could he win without Mix on that last drive? It was great to see because it's exactly where they've fallen short last year several times.
I want to go to the final score for the Niners because I said a proclamation on my show without any sort of research. I said that's the greatest rollout to the right, throw to the end zone to a tight end since Dwight Clark for Jake Tongas. Is that fair?
Yeah, you're not. I said what I said on the air was that wasn't the catch, but it was a heck of a catch. It was very reminiscent. like we're laughing because, of course, it's not the same stake.
No, of course not.
As Clark's catch. But here's what I'll say about it. The people that I've heard, describe that catch from seeing it in person, and you can feel it when you watch the highlight on YouTube or whatever, is that there's a moment in time where it looks like that ball is just going out of bounds. And the ball that Purdy threw, as I'm calling the play from the box, I thought for sure was going out of bounds first, and then I thought was without a doubt getting intercepted.
Mm-hmm.
And then neither of those things happened. It got caught. And it turned out from next-gen stats that catch had the lowest likelihood of a catch percentage. It was like 14%. It was the lowest in the league this weekend that ball gets caught. So you run that play 100 times, only 14 times is it a catch.
Yeah.
Which that even. So from that standpoint, it felt similar. That it just that ball was not going to get caught. If you had paused time and said, all right, guy, everyone else is frozen. What's about to happen? I would have said, I don't know what is going to happen, but I'll tell you what's not going to happen. This ball's not getting caught. And it did. It was pretty awesome. And hopefully it feels to them like, it's a sign that maybe they're going to catch some breaks this year that they felt like they didn't last year.
He did. What stood out about Ricky, and do you see potential in this guy to be the next one for this Niners offense? Obviously, when they're waiting for Brandon Ayuk to come back, and obviously Demarcus Robinson's another aspect of this offense. But, Ricky Pearsall's got a lot of potential, and I think we finally saw it on Sunday.
I agree. How often have you seen the 49ers hit a sideline ball over the top in crunch time when they're trailing and need to go make a play, and they did it, and that's not been common. They hit big plays, but they're usually, those deep crossing routes. And I think it was the result of what we've seen in training camp. Pearsall and Purdy have a great chemistry. Purdy, relied a lot early in camp. Juwan Jennings dominated camp early, and then he went out, and then Ricky took over as the guy that was clearly the best guy. So, I think a lot of people have said it, like you're trying to weather the storm. Not weather the storm, but you're just trying to develop and hope you're in the race, and then maybe you'll get some reinforcements when Ayuk comes back. I think that's the case. I think they could be a great combination, Pearsall and Ayuk. What Ayuk does is gets open. Ricky, we'll see. He's still got some developing to do. Will he get open as much as Ayuk got open? But he made some great plays. It was not a surprise. It was a continuation of the way he looked in training camp, and it was great to see it translate. But I think you're right. I think he's got the potential to solidify his place for a long time.
I know the news came out this morning with Jake Moody being waived. It was obviously a relationship between him and Niner fans that was rocky at best, but as you see now with Kyle, it looks like he just signed Eddie Pinheiro, which I think he tried out today and seems to have cracked the roster now. That news coming up, I think, about an hour ago. Is Kyle just looking for? He's just looking for more consistency, obviously, from that kicking position. But if that's there, I got to imagine that's one of the concerns the Niners are trying to shore up right at the beginning of this season here.
No question. You can't miss 27-yarders, and unfortunately, Jake Moody's percentage since last year when he returned from that ankle injury, it's not good. It's by far the worst. And you've seen a lot of guys make big kicks. Moody made a big kick. When I say big, I mean just like long kicks. Moody made a big one in the Super Bowl, but he missed an extra point in that Super Bowl too. When you're hunting for kickers and you're signing guys that are older, especially, you're probably not about to unearth a gem. I wouldn't be surprised if it's not the last time they change kickers this year. But that one had just gotten to a point where, how do you look the other guys on the team in the face and keep saying we've got confidence when you don't have confidence?
Mm-hmm.
And we see, for anybody that watched the game, you saw Shanahan's reaction on the sideline. He's very angry, understandably. So you have to take some action, unfortunately, and hopefully for Jake Moody, he can get it. there's a history of kickers that get drafted and don't succeed with their first team and succeed somewhere else. So hopefully that happens for him. But I think the analogy would be the Niners just need somebody to hit singles.
Yeah.
And if that means they got to go for 4th and 1 instead of trying to kick a long kick, a 57-yarder, so be it. But they're a team that, especially for them, they get in the red zone a lot.
Mm-hmm.
They are an efficient offense. They didn't score a lot in the red zone last year without McCaffrey. They would have liked to have scored more in the red zone this week. But they do get to the red zone. They cannot miss kicks from 27 yards away. I mean, that is unheard of on a clear day.
Yeah.
And so, it kind of felt like it was headed this way. The analogy I would make too, the comparison is, I remember using this one a lot with Brian Wilson when he was the Giants closer.
Mm-hmm.
A baseball team's fans know the closer better than the box score. So like some guy might be like, 48 of 51 in save opportunities, and everyone from a national level is going, oh, this guy's incredible. But if the fan base knows it's a roller coaster, it's a roller coaster. Now that's not the same situation with Moody because the stats weren't reflective of that, but I do think there are some situations. Kicker is one, closer's another, where you don't really need to ask anybody or watch the tape. Just go to the fan. What does the fan base think?
Yeah.
It's probably how the coach feels too, and that one lined up.
I know we only got a little bit of time left. Maybe just real quick on the Saints. You see some of the highlights they had against the Cardinals, a Cardinals team that some people feel improved. What do you take away from what you saw from Week 1 with the Saints and what the Niners have in store for their game on Sunday?
Well, I think they're a team that's rebuilding. And they, I think, played better. Just reading some of the Saints coverage, they played well. Like, while you're rebuilding, can you play a clean football game and give yourself a chance to win, or is your team a mess?
Yeah.
And they're not a mess, So Spencer Rattler made some good throws. Like, you got to go beat them. You should beat them. To me, even if you got Mac Jones starting at quarterback, you should go beat the Saints. Their defensive front is not the Seahawks defensive front. Most teams' defensive front isn't the Seahawks defensive front. That's a really good front. So I think you should go win that game. But I do think they're clean. Like, you do have to beat them. They're not like some messy rebuilding team. I think they're well coached. So that's kind of the overarching headline for New Orleans for me.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, and we'll see that on Sunday. And, of course, you can listen to Guy and the crew all throughout the season right here on 1430 ESPN. Guy, I wish I had more time, but we'll see if we can get you back on the show, talk more Niners later in the season.
Is Pacheco giving me some trade for this hit?
We'll get you some Chicken Shack. How about that? Or any what else? Yeah. We'll send it your way.
Pacheco's got, I'll take, Phil.
I'll let him know. Appreciate it, Guy.
Right,
we'll talk to you later.
All right, brother.
All right. See ya. All right. Guy Haberman right here on 1430 ESPN. Good to have him. Good perspective there. Like I said, I wish we had more time with him, but I thought there was some good stuff talked about in there. And we spent a lot of time on the Moody news, and I didn't mention that at the top of the show, and I think that's the big story with the Niners today. Jake Moody waived after, I would say, 2 seasons in a game since being, was he a 3rd-round pick overall for the 49ers?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the cost of a guy like a 3rd-round pick kicker can seem like you need to hold on to him as much as you can before you say that's a sunk cost. And it just kind of felt like that relationship with him and Kyle Shanahan. Kyle seemed to believe in the guy, and there were kicks that Moody can make, and then there were kicks that Moody simply were not making. And 27 yards, like Guy Haberman said, is just simply inexcusable in the National Football League, and that was on Jake.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, when you have the level of games that come down to one-score situations, and you have a guy in Jake Moody that you simply cannot trust regardless of the draft capital that you used for him, there is just no excuse for him to be on the team anymore. And I think that, Moody had the upside. He still has the leg, I think. It's just his accuracy has gone – it's deteriorated to the point where there's no reason for him to be on the San Francisco 49ers. I know a lot of fans would have probably thought that he should have been gone last year after the multiple kicks that he missed. Even during the Super Bowl season, right? Like, yeah, he had a pretty decent Super Bowl, But beyond that, like the guy had a couple of he had a miss against the Browns, which was really bad. I remember the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game last year where
he
missed
still won with a game-winning kick at the end.
Exactly. So he missed like 3 kicks in that game. So yeah, like I do firmly believe that the reason that he was there this long was the draft capital used for him, and you kind of have to like hope that that type of pick pans out for you. But yeah, it got to a point when he missed that 27-yarder over the weekend, and I was like, yeah, there's no way that this guy is staying on the team.
You mentioned some games, and I'm just trying. Like, there are direct losses pinned to the guy potentially in what we're talking about, including, like you said, the Super Bowl 2 years ago. And I said, actually, I made this joke because we had, I think it's Borgalis or whatever his name is from my Patriots.
Yeah.
First field goal attempt. I was like, he'll either be. I'll root for him, or he's dead to me if he misses this first one. And he was dead to me because he missed the first one of his career, and he'll forever be dead to me.
Yeah, I mean, that's the sad reality of kickers, right?
Yeah. But it was I don't think there was any love lost between Niner fans and Jake Moody. It was clearly evident in terms of the social media response to it. I will not repeat what I saw on social media in terms of that, but I couldn't find a Jake Moody supporter out there in terms of that.
I mean, as one myself, not a Moody supporter, but a 49ers fan, there was nothing left for support.
But it's interesting. It's an interesting psychology to look at the Niner fandom and see that is the most hated guy out there in terms of their roster he's no longer on. A guy made a good point about closing pitchers in baseball. You hate a closer if he loses the game. You feel like you directly feel the loss from one guy, even though there were probably other numerous factors throughout early in the game of guys who like Purdy threw 2 picks. Like, why are we not mad at Purdy? Or maybe we can be mad at Purdy about a couple of picks in that game against Seattle. But yeah, what do you want to get there?
What's the word? But basically an example.
Yeah.
You know, Devin Williams, best closer in the game. As soon as he goes to the Yankees, it's all gone.
The Yankee fandom has turned on Devin Williams and said, hey, you're a 6th inning guy now. Like, we literally can't trust you for anything. But, like, Devin Williams, I'm sure if you looked at the numbers, like, ostensibly against other people or other closers, he's a lot better than Ryan Walker for the Giants right now, who's blowing games left and right for the Giants. But I find it interesting, the psychology of sports, where you feel like you have to blame the guy who you feel like it's directly affecting the game when there were other opportunities that this team could have had to maybe punch it in a different situation. Blame the Niners offense for having to kick the 27-yarder. How about that? Being inefficient down in that area of the red zone. But I get it. He has to make that kick and seal the deal on the drive.
I personally agree with you to the point where, like, it's a team sport.
Yeah.
And we so many times throughout, like, just looking at football, we blame one person. Like, Mark Andrews in the Buffalo Bills game versus, sure, he dropped that pass, but it was not a great performance overall from that team, right? But for this specific situation, there are too many examples now where you have Jake Moody missing 3 have that happen at the rate that he had it happen and not have him cut.
Like, if Jake Moody was drafted this year out of the 3rd round and that was his first game, you would chalk it up to shakes and rookie that have absolutely devastated 49er fans
for
quite some time.
It's the consistency of bad games.
He's been blocked too many times, too, and I know Kyle didn't want to blame the block on him, but I feel like there are some times where he just drives the ball a little too low over the line. I don't want to kick a man while he's down. He's not on the roster anymore. The Niners are moving on, and like I said, and I don't know if you heard the news, Eddie Pinheiro looks like he's signing with the Niners for the foreseeable future. Eddie Pinheiro, former Bear, former Panther. I notoriously think he has not as powerful of a leg as many guys. He's good in the short yardage, but I don't think he's getting you 55 or 60-yard field goals out there for you.
But as guys said, right, like the 49ers get into the red zone so much that you can't lose an opportunity to
just
score
bank on
any
the guy.
Points, right? Be accurate. It's like Harrison Butker.
Yeah.
Like, Harrison Butker doesn't, to me, have the strongest leg of the entire NFL per se, but he is so clutch and so accurate with him.
Yeah.
So... yeah, that's basically what is the point of bringing
It's bunt the guy over, right? It's if you have a guy who can just bunt a guy over every single time he came up and set yourself up for success, that's what it is. If you wanted to go into a different sports term, just make the routine play. which is make your 40-yarders, make your 35-yarders, make your 27-yarders, and go ahead and make yourself not sweat this football game like the Niners did. I will say, like, the more I sit here and look at it, and we'll dive into it more, maybe look ahead to what we have in terms of where the Niners sit for this week. You know, it feels like the Niners got away with one, but I think both teams played. You know, there were some issues on either side of this game if we looked at it, and if we're deep diving into it. But yeah, like Guy said, felt like it would have been a devastating loss if the Niners couldn't hold on to it. But it feels like an absolute fantastic win because they did. Let's dive deeper into it next and wrap up this hour with some more Niners talk. Stay with us behind the bench, rolling along here on 1430 ESPN, Fresno, the Valley's local sports leader.
Sports fans of the Central Valley, are you ready to step up your game day grilling? Step into the Butcher Boss and discover winning flavors the champions crave. Ask about their 5 for $35 deal, where you can feed up to 5 people for $35 every day. Located right off the 41 north of Avenue 11, stop by the Butcher Boss today and become the boss of your barbecue.
Get ready for the ultimate Monday Night Showdown, only at Chukchansi Gold. Starting September 8th through December 29th, win your share of $80,000 in giveaways, including $51,000 in e-cash. Earn entries all day Sunday, Monday, and Thursday. Then join us for drawings every Monday from 5 to 8 p.m. Swipe your rewards card during the game inside Firehouse Lounge for a free entry into over $28,000 in prizes, including football gear and more. Game day starts here at Chukchansi Gold.
Now is a great time to review your company's retirement plan. Do you understand the advisory fees you're paying and the services you should be receiving? Is your current advisor making your life easier by handling all of those time-consuming questions from your employees and phone calls to your plan provider? Is your current advisor solely focused on company-sponsored retirement plans and able to keep up to date with ever-changing regulations so you feel confident that your plan is in compliance? Do you feel great about the investment options in your plan? Are you receiving quarterly updates on their performance? Employers who work with 401k specialists can answer yes to all of those questions. 401k Specialists is the dedicated retirement plan team powered by Thiessen-Duker Modern Wealth Management. Visit ThiessenDuker.com to learn more about how we work differently so you can answer yes to those questions. The advisors of Thiessen-Duker Modern Wealth Management are registered representatives with and securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC.
Football is back, and so is your shot at big wins. With DraftKings Pick 6, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL, your game day instincts can score you real money fast. Here's the play. Just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats, from breakout rookies to elite QBs, and unlock the upside every snap brings. The better your calls, the better your payout. And here's the kickoff bonus. New DraftKings customers get $50 in bonus picks with just a $5 entry. This season, play your player instincts. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use the code KFIG. That's code KFIG. Play just $5, get $50 in Pick 6 bonus picks. Make the call, ride the upside in partnership with DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 bonus picks that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
When heroes step off the streets and onto the field, it's game time. Join them for the Heroes United Baseball Classic Wednesday, September 10th at Pete Biden Field, Bob Bennett Stadium at Fresno State. Pre-game festivities kick off at 4 with lawn games, batting tunnels, studio golf, and food trucks. Gates open at 5:30 and first pitch is at 6:15. It's the Fresno Police Officers Association taking on the Fresno Fire Department in a classic battle of first responders. $10 general admission and kids under 5 are free with an adult. Purchase tickets today at FresnoPOA.org.
Introducing The Sidebar, a brand new open-air beer garden at Me and Ed's Coney Island Grill in River Park. Experience a new way to catch a game, hang with friends, and enjoy new appetizers, char-grilled burgers, salads, wings with over 10 house-made sauces, and of course, world-famous Me and Ed's pizza. Thirsty? Try our self-poured taps with over a dozen craft beers, wines, ciders, and craft seltzers. Plus a full bar with an impressive selection of tequilas, whiskeys, and craft cocktails. The Sidebar at Me and Ed's Coney Island Grill.
Here on 1430 ESPN Fresno, the Valley's local sports leader. I'm just reading over some stats here. Is this right for Spencer Rattler? He has yet to win a game in his career.
I mean, I can't recollect a Spencer Rattler win.
0 for 7 in his career right now.
Yeah.
So
it's tough.
Win number 1 on the way? No, I'm kidding.
I mean, it would be the game, wouldn't it?
It would be. Mac Jones going at it.
We'll find a way.
Somehow. Kyle Shanahan, by the way, 16 and 25 against the spread with quarterbacks other than Purdy or Garoppolo. In terms of Niners, 5.5 point favorites against the Saints. Is there any more thoughts on the Seahawks game? Like, I thought I would give the Niners about a B-B for how they played and kind of gutting it out. I even could grade it on a curve to a B+ in terms of defense, by the way. Nick Bosa, man, making that closeout play. Shoving a lineman into Sam Darnold's arm to make a fumble, to force a fumble that ended up winning the game for the 49ers, essentially. Some big-time throws, but, man, there were some big-time head-scratchers from Brock. I don't know if there was the injury that was going on at that time. He wasn't able to drive. I don't know what toe is even hurt right now in terms of it. But I got to imagine there were some things that made you sit there and scratch your head. Why? Niners, 9 penalties for 61 yards in this one as well. A little sloppy in terms of the penalty side of things. And obviously some things to clean up special teams wise. They're addressing it now. We talked about it in the previous segment. Were there any other parting thoughts from the Seattle-San Francisco game other than you had to get a win on the division on the road there?
Yeah, I definitely think that this was a massive win for the 49ers to pull this one out with no Kittle, no Ayuk, no Jawan towards the end of that game. And I understand Brock did throw those 2 interceptions, but he had such a great last drive. And regardless of what we want to say, when everybody to be bad, it just means that there is a high level, a low floor and high ceiling with this team. And I think we saw a lot of good play from guys like Upton Stout, who played corner. Renardo Green, second-year guy, played pretty well. I know he had a couple of passes that he had to defend against JSN. That's not an easy cover at all. But, these guys all played well. Marcus Siegel played really well in this game. And I was very impressed with the defense. Fred Warner, Nick Bosa playing out of their mind, and then Nick Bosa, coming up with a massive sack. But I also want to highlight Nick Bosa had that huge 8-yard loss for tackle on JSN on that screen pass when they got the ball back, and that was big to force Seattle to punt. So I was very impressed with the 49ers defense, and I was happy that the young guys, even though they got burned sometimes here and there, that's expected. But they were able to recover and limit the Seattle Seahawks to such low yardage on the ground, especially.
If you count all of the plays that the Niners gave the ball back with no points where they should have had it, so like if we're assuming the turnovers and then we're assuming the missed field goals, Seattle only 6 points on those 4 times the Niners gave away that ball. It could have been 28. It could have been a lot worse of the situation in terms of that. Of course, when they play a caliber opponent, honestly, I feel like Seattle has to feel terrible about the way they played on Sunday. I feel like Seattle blew that game a whole lot. I feel they played conservative for the most part. The field goal with the 4th down where they go up 13-10, I felt like that was more of a step on your throat kind of situation where they could have gone for 7 there in terms of it. But Darnold was a little skittish in terms of the way he was playing, but I don't blame him. There's Nick Bosa being fully healthy. Nick Bosa going off the edge there. But I got to imagine that stat, 6 points off of 4 essential Niner, mishaps. That's good management in terms of the situational things that are going on in this game where the Niners can weather those mistakes. Whether they can weather those with better opponents on the schedule, like down the road when they when they go play the Rams or they go to Tampa, or eventually nobody else because their schedule is so weak because I'm looking at it. But you know what I mean? Like,
no, yeah, for sure.
It bodes well that if they can manage those mistakes, that things can work well for them.
And the other reason why I think this was such a big win was because I think the Seahawks will be able to figure out their offensive system, and they will be better when we play them later down the year. So the fact that they got the win in this situation was huge for the division as well.
Let's look ahead now, because now the Niners got the victory. They're 1-0. They're starting the season, obviously, 2 games on the road, one of the few teams to be doing that. I think them and like Carolina and maybe a few others are doing that right now in terms of the road games. But the Niners have a road game with New Orleans, and while we know New Orleans objectively could be the worst team, I may not say so anymore based off what I saw this past week, but objectively one of the worst teams in the National Football League, although they gave the Cardinals some fits and had an opportunity and really could have tied that game at the end of it against Arizona. The Niners will seemingly be shorthanded for sure. We know for a fact that Kittle's out for the next 4. So he's out for the Saints, Cardinals, Jags, Rams game at least. Could I return against the Buccaneers, but hamstrings are funny and fickle, and we could see what will be going on there with George Kittle there. It's the Purdy injury that I'm curious about. It feels like there's more mystery to the Purdy injury. We're not really sure exactly what that is and what that could look like. Obviously, in the short term, you feel like you can manage something with the Saints here. Maybe that's the precautionary side of things. You throw Mac Jones out there and make it happen. Like I said, we don't know the extent of the injury, but from what it sounds like, the Niners probably could go to that precaution, I'd imagine, and see where it looks from there. But giving up short-term success for long-term success, I think, is the move for the Niners here in terms of Purdy if we're going to hear about this injury all week long.
Yeah, and I heard that the toe is the bigger problem, not the shoulder.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting how they deal with that for sure. In this specific game, I think the way you manage these injuries, Christian McCaffrey and Brian Robinson Jr., I think you got to work through both of those guys. Mm-hmm. Last week, the Cardinals with not only James Conner but also Trey Benson were gashing the Saints on the ground. So I think that has been the emphasis for this 49ers offense, and I think you should just continue that. And Mac Jones, I know that when he played for Jacksonville last year, he hyper-targeted his number 1 receiver in Brian Thomas Jr. last season and got the ball in his hands to make some big plays. And so I think Ricky Pearsall could be in line for a lot of touches in this game. And honestly, I think that's good because Ricky is the one guy on this team that I think is the most dynamic receiver that we have right now because there's no Demarcus Robinson and there's no Brandon Ayuk. And I even think with those guys, I think you could probably put him second behind Ayuk, right? But I think that what the 49ers do on offense is going to work against the Saints team. It's just Mac has to be very careful with not forcing the ball and turning this ball over on multiple occasions, because that's honestly when you have a game that's a big gap turn into something closer than it needs to be.
They're concerned. If you're going to go plus players on this Saints team, there is, right, Jordan Cameron's still a guy that's out there.
Cameron Jordan, yeah.
Jordan Cameron, the tight end. No, he seems like he's kind of the guy I think of in terms of that defense, but other than that, there's really not much I can really say about the Saints on the side of things.
Yeah, Demario Davis.
Demario Davis, pretty solid.
One.
Yeah, clear guy as well. Mac likes to hold on the ball and doesn't have the greatest pocket presence. I worry about that. I wonder if we get blitz packages going at him. Usually, typically with a second-string quarterback, if he's going to be starting, you're going to be mixing the looks and what Saints can provide. And let's be fair, the Saints were pretty physical on the wide receivers of Arizona. I don't know if you saw some of that. Kyler was not as accurate as he could be, but I think it was because Arizona was going to kind of be pushed off the routes a little bit in terms of that. And I think the Niners wide receivers got to be ready for it and be a little more physical and be able to kind of stay there. They're adding Kendrick Bourne to the mix, obviously. They just signed him for a 1-year, I think, $5 million deal. So Kendrick Bourne's kind of onboarding to it. I don't know how much of an impact he could have in the game. He's kind of a skinnier guy. I think Juwan is going to probably be the go-to guy this game in terms of it, like you mentioned, where Mac kind of sends the target. But I'm curious to see how much the Saints can kind of get away with it on defense in terms of that.
Yeah, and that's where Christian McCaffrey is so good. can hand him the ball, pass him the ball in any way, and he's going to give you yardage. And that's where I think the Saints defense can really be stretched apart to give Ricky Pearsall and Jawan Jennings those deep passing concepts. And that's honestly what I see happening. With Brock Purdy, it'll be, I think for sure, that this 49ers team will be able to separate from the Saints defense.
Oh, absolutely.
But if it is Mac Jones, obviously I think it will be a little closer. But if the defense plays like they did against Seattle and Mac Jones is able to find his targets and the running game is going, I think this could be the win that we were looking for all along in the first place.
Jake Tongas waiver wire pickup? Are we buying the Jake Tongas stock?
I would not, no. Dude, he had 3 catches in that game?
He had more than Farrell. He had more than Luke Farrell.
Yeah, but that's where I think the wide receivers are getting so many targets in this game.
Yeah. 2-0 on the road, no matter what it is in the NFL, you'll take it, and you want to be as healthy as you can getting into Arizona. Because that Arizona game's massive too. Like I know Arizona struggled against the Saints and it was a possession to the end. I'm not counting out Arizona being a team the Niners fits. Let's be fair. They lost to Arizona last year in San Francisco, in Santa Clara. So nothing's a given there. Nothing is a given there for the 49ers in terms of it. But as good as a start you can think of for the 49ers in terms of the record, maybe not in terms of the injury side of things, but we talked about it before this show, Tim. We were talking about it. It's like they can only be better, you got to assume, down the stretch of the season. This is as bad as the Niners can look right now in terms of the season, and you rather would like to be trending up just essentially because guys are returning, not even in terms of the standard of play.
Right, and last year it was actually the defense that was really, really bad. The offense was okay to an extent still. And I just think if the offense can stick around and use their centerpieces, then the defense should pick stuff up for them because I think they'll be flying around this weekend.
Daniel, any feel on this Saints-Niners game for you? I know everybody's kind of Niners, but do the injuries concern you in any way about this Saints game?
Definitely, because I do know about their wide receiver core and how limited it is. But I really think it just comes down to how Mac Jones plays and how he's able to use his pieces. But other than that, that's all I really have.
Man, I cannot wait for y'all to experience the Mac Jones experience. I was doing that for 2 years. Woof. Good luck.
Yeah, I just hope it's kind of like Sam Darnold a little bit.
It won't be. It is. Mac Jones. Local sports leader.
Football fans, listen up. Are you tailgate ready? Grocery Outlet and ESPN Fresno are going to make that happen with our Tailgate Ready contest. Up for grabs is a pair of tickets to a Fresno State 100 towards your tailgate. Sign up at Fresno Southeast, Northwest, and downtown locations today. We'll select a winner before each Fresno State home game this season. That means 6 chances to win. So be sure to stop by your local grocery outlet today and win big for your tailgate and go support the Bulldogs.
Summer is here, and the hottest deals are at Valley Pure. For premium indoor house flower to tasty edibles, smooth vapes, must-have concentrates, and refreshing cannabis drinks, we've got everything you love at prices that keep you coming back for more. Stock up for your summer fun with unbeatable discounts across all Valley Pure locations. Whether you're looking to relax, celebrate, or spark up some good vibes in the sun, Valley Pure has the deals to keep the season rolling with easy online ordering and curbside pickup right from the app.
When you think of California business machines, it wouldn't surprise me if you automatically thought 3-cent color copies. It's something CBM has become locally famous for. But now there's something else business owners are calling about: business phone systems. It's a beautiful thing. Copiers, printers, office phone systems, all with one simple call to California Business Machines. 559-225-5570 or online at cbmsolution.com.
It was 106 degrees. The Johnsons were sweating, and their AC, dead silent. But 2 doors down, the Millers, cool and comfortable. Why? They called Lee's Air for a $99 AC maintenance before summer started. We catch problems before they catch you. Don't sweat the heat. Beat it. Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating. Fast, friendly, guaranteed. Call now or schedule at leesair.com.
Your Fresno State Bulldogs are fighting for that Mountain West championship. There's nothing better than rooting for your Bulldogs as they battle it out on the gridiron. Representing your city of Fresno. Bring the whole family and get loud cheering on your Bulldogs at Valley Children's Stadium all season long. Be sure to check out GoBulldogs.com today for information on special events and to grab your tickets for upcoming home games. Go Dogs!
The wait is over. Toledo's Mexican restaurant, family-owned for over 30 years, is now open in Cedar Rainiz in Northeast Fresno. It's your spot for bold, authentic Mexican flavors and all your favorite sports games. Happy hour runs Monday through Friday, 2 to 5, plus weekends, Saturday and Sunday, 8 to 10 p.m., and Saturday mornings, 8 to 11 for college football. Enjoy $10 appetizers and $7 house margaritas. Toledo's, now with 3 locations in Clovis and Fresno. Order online at Toledo'sMexicanRestaurant.com.
Fall has arrived at Patrick James, where style meets tradition. Come in and see the latest items from the brands you love. Peter Millar, Robert Graham, Faraday, and True Grit, just to name a few. Stop by and experience our brand new shop-in-shops featuring Johnny O and the very first Martin Dingman shop west of the Rockies. Discover finely crafted apparel, exceptional service, and a locally owned store that's been serving the Valley for generations. Patrick James, where looking your best begins this fall.
At Progressive, we understand the bond you have with your boat. It's why people name theirs.
I named my boat Sure Don't. Get it? The other day when my friend said, "Hey Larry, you want to head back in? It looks like it might rain." I said, "Sure don't." I guess they didn't get it because they didn't laugh.
Whatever you call your boat, protect it by insuring it with Progressive, America's #1 boat insurer. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. #1 rating based on boat market share data from ratefilings.com.
The San Francisco Giants, KFIG Fresno, 1430 ESPN.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The NFL has fined Eagles defensive tackle Jalen Carter $57,000 for spitting on Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott Thursday because he was ejected before participating in a play. The league said it will consider he's already served a one-game suspension, so he can play this week. The 49ers putting tight end George Kittle on injured reserve with a hamstring injury. He'll miss games against the Saints, Cardinals, Jaguars, and Rams. Niners not sure if they'll have quarterback Brock Purdy this Sunday due to shoulder and toe injuries, explains ESPN NFL insider Adam Schefter.
And the toe is actually more problematic right now than the shoulder. They want to evaluate him as the week goes on, and it's clear that his status right now is up in the air. And if Purdy can't go, then Mac Jones would start on Sunday at New Orleans against the Saints.
Adam Schefter on Unsportsmanlike. One more note on the Niners. Receiver Juwan Jennings' shoulder scans came back clean, indicating he avoided any significant injury. He's considered day-to-day. Bengals starting right guard Lucas Patrick put on IR with a calf injury, so he's out at least the next 4 games. Baseball and a matchup of teams in the hunt for that final AL wildcard spot. Guardians leading the Royals 1-0 bottom 2 thanks to a solo shot by Jose Ramirez. NL East leading Phillies and Mets scoreless bottom 1. New York holds the final NL wildcard spot. Big injury hit for the AL East leading Blue Jays offense. Shortstop Bo Bichette's landed on the injured list with a sprained left knee. The Cubs put outfielder Kyle Tucker on the injured list with a calf strain. Chicago holds the top NL wildcard spot.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Wednesday, we saw some impressive debuts from old quarterbacks in new places. I'll tell you which ones are sustainable. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
I have to come on there and talk about how right I am once again. in anything that it comes to sports.
He's got the questions.
I'm going to lose it. Are you kidding me? What are we doing here?
He's got the guests.
20th head coach in Fresno State history here, man. Is it hard to believe sometimes still, the 20th head coach here in program history?
It's all moved really quickly here over the course of the last 5-6 weeks, but super excited to be here.
Phil Bonatti is the voice for the Central Valley sports leader. Behind the Bench starts now. Brought to you by Agri.
That's right. Behind the Bench here on 1430 ESPN Fresno on this Tuesday afternoon. 3 hours, like we said, going up till 6 o'clock today. Sending you to Giants baseball tonight, 6:15 against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Of course, on 790, Grizzlies, San Jose Giants, game 1 of their 3-game set. The only game at Chansey Ballpark tonight in this series. So be sure to tune in on 790. Listen to Tim Slack and company talk about the Grizzlies tonight. Can't wait for it. I'll be down there. And can't wait for our next guest, which is going to be in here. He'll be in here for the next hour. Gabe Camarillo is going to co-host a little bit here, get the co-hosting chops on. About multiple topics. Didn't think I could fit it in one full segment, so why don't we just have him on here for the whole hour. Gabe, how are we doing?
Doing great. Have the day off, and I think I might go to that Grizzlies game because
good call.
You know, Ethan Holiday is such a talent, and I have a feeling we're going to see him in the big leagues sooner rather than later. So why not maybe one last time see him in a Grizzly uniform in here in Fresno?
I need a home run from him at home. That's what I need. He hasn't had a Chansey Ballpark home run yet. He got one in Rancho.
Did you see he hit that home run in Rancho almost the same time Jackson hit the homer against LA to
Was
break
that
up?
against the Dodgers?
Yes.
Was that against the Remind me, who Jackson Holiday? Sorry, there's Dodger fans over there. There's one.
Yoshi had that no-hitter.
Yeah. Can't believe that happened in terms of that. They're still working on some stuff over there, so we'll get Ted Vera and Daniel involved. But anyways, Gabe, good to have you. Good to be alongside you here for the next hour. And we're just diving into some of the more local stuff. We did a lot of Niners talk. We're clearing away from the Niners here. Good stuff on that. But Fresno State football is on the top of mind of a lot of people. And I would say 2 weeks ago, the sky was falling, I think, for a lot of people.
After week 0, I mean, that seems kind of a stretch for some fans to say we feel the season's over. But it's fans, right? They're going to overreact to a week 0 game against Kansas. I think it's just because everything was new. That's why they started so slow. Because when you have – what was it, 20-plus players making their Fresno State debut week 0. I honestly feel like it's good and bad that they started so early because at least you get right away to evaluate in real time what you got on the roster, and then you saw them improve so much in that second half against Georgia Southern. But it's also bad because you don't have enough time if you're Matt Entz to really – I mean, you have enough time, but you have less time than you would have had to really install your – offense, defense, mentality, everything that comes with being a new head coach.
Well, the fun thing about college football, it's just so relative. When everything is so new and everybody doesn't know what's on each roster, you can't – the AP poll's just the biggest silly thing that we have out there. You can't make opinions about anybody until like week 3, week 4. You get a little sample size of who's played who, and then you kind of deduce on – where people are. I mean, we're sitting here, everybody's arguing about USF and where they could be ranked. They should be a top 10 team if they beat Miami this week, everything like that. But just as one of the examples. But in terms of where Kansas is, and they obviously had a big battle this past week against Missouri, couldn't quite get it done. I know I feel better about this team. I'm not saying they are perfect. I think there are some issues. I think Oregon State really gave them the game, and I still think they were trying to not totally grab the game.
I would argue
on their own.
We still don't know a lot about this team, even 3 games into the season. Like, I don't think they've really tapped into E.J. Warner's skill set. They haven't asked him to do much. I know there's a lot of talk about, can this guy complete a pass more than 15 yards downfield? Well, they haven't really asked him to do that more than 5 or 6 times. Now, when they've asked him to do it, I think half the time has led to the other team catching the ball.
Yeah, I gave you the stat before last week's game, and of course it added to it. I think it was literally one more pass down that 20-plus yards. I think it's 0 for 5 on the season, at least from my recollection. 3 interceptions in terms of that in the deep ball. And I know at some point the deep ball will be needed in a football game at some point, and we'll know that. But you get a sense, and maybe we'll dive into this as part of the conversation here. You and we were both at the press conference. A lot of quarterback questions. You're one of the guys. I asked a passing game question. I didn't try to ask it about EJ. But, so you get a sense Coach Entz is not really ready to entertain any of that conversation right now. He was a little not a little. I think he was pretty defensive in terms of
he has to be.
The Warner conversation.
Because why is he going to change the quarterback so early in the season? Like, you name the starter quarterback, and it's not just for the first 3 weeks. It's until there's enough to make you make a switch. And some fans think there is enough. I can see where they're coming from because, yes, interceptions, fans and coaches agree those are bad. Turnover margin, that's the biggest thing that Entz mentions every week at the press conference. He mentioned how before he said anything else this past Monday, he said we won the turnover battle. 2 versus 1. Simeon Harris, Jakari Embry got interceptions. That beat the interception that EJ threw. That did lead to an Oregon State touchdown.
You can even add the Korea punt weird thing that rugby play.
That's why they won the game, because they got those two clutch interceptions to end Oregon State trying to score on both ends of the half, and then Korea. But I would argue with EJ, what are they really asking him to do? Are they asking him to be Jake Haener or even Micah Keene? Like, those offenses are so different where, yes, you did want a quarterback who could throw beyond 20 yards.
Yeah.
I honestly think they're just asking EJ to complete a high percentage of passes and get this team in a 3rd and short. They're not asking him to get first downs with his arm.
Well, what's different is that we haven't seen a drive like the end of the game drive in about 2 years since Haener, right?
Yeah.
Mikey had the Purdue game.
Yes,
and I think that's the last one I can qualify it as, and it was downhill from there.
But,
but since that, it really has been few or far between in terms of that drive actually working for the Bulldogs. I hope people grasp onto that because we haven't had that in quite some time. And I feel like that is value in terms of what he was presenting. That was poise. That was making the right plays. We talked about his scramble ability on your show and his ability to use the legs, made it happen, and found a way to get Dylan Lynch in the position that he was comfortable to make a field goal in. And that is an element that I don't think many people – I feel like people should give him more props for that.
Why aren't people talking about his decision-making in not forcing a throw and recognizing the defense is going to give him the 10, 12 yards to move the ball down the field for a field goal? Like, people aren't talking about that. They're talking about he overthrew his receiver in the second quarter. That led to an interception that Oregon State scored. So they're focused. People are focused on the negatives, and I think that's why Entz was so defensive because as someone who watches Warner in practice every day and chose him as the starting quarterback, he's like, I made the right choice. We're 2-1.
Yeah.
And that loss to Kansas was not on EJ. It was on a multitude of factors. So they won because of him. EJ was the guy who drove him down the field for the field goal. Did he throw his way down there? Did he run his way down there? Does it even matter? It doesn't.
He executed.
He made the decisions that were best for the team. He could have forced the ball into coverage and thrown a pick, and we would have a totally different conversation. But he ran the ball instead when nobody was open, and he doesn't get enough credit for that.
It's gonna be fascinating to see where it progresses from here. By the way, have you seen the Twitter defenses from Kurt Warner?
Yeah.
In terms of EJ, have you dived into those videos? And
I watched the entire video yesterday.
While understanding the bias that is sitting there in that video of him trying to defend EJ.
I cringe when he says, my son.
I know.
I wish he would just say Warner, EJ, but he says, here's my son doing this. I'm like,
But do you think he has a point there in trying to defend EJ on that interception? And
I don't see Cooper Manning going with his iPad.
Yeah.
Here's Arch Manning versus Ohio State. Here's why it's not his fault. Like, Cooper Manning's not doing that.
Right. But do you find it fascinating? Do you find it interesting?
It's definitely fascinating. I don't know if I would agree with what he's doing because it does open up to some criticism. Like, stay in your lane, Kurt. Like, be a dad. Don't be that dad, though, that uses your platform to influence someone's opinion. Like, I guess what he's trying to do is he's trying to, for the fans out there who I'm talking about that want him to be switched out as starter, he's trying to talk to them and say, not everything is as it seems. EJ didn't just overthrow the receiver. The receiver was also knocked off course. I mean, I still think the ball could have been thrown a bit better. But, Kurt's trying to convince people otherwise.
I get it. Some people
proud dad,
proud dad's got to be proud dad in terms of it, and he's got to be defensive in other aspects. So I just found the discourse fascinating in terms of it. But we focus a lot on the offense and everything like that with the run game. I know we like Donaldson a lot, but man, Speedy Luke, Rayshon Luke, He might be my favorite running back in quite some time. I think I'm even going back to like Robbie Rouse days in terms of like favorite running back.
I like how he's a different type of back than Donaldson. Donaldson's the kind of guy, consistent, 4, 5, 6 yards a carry. Luke's kind of a big play guy.
Yeah.
He got 86 yards this past week, 44 of them on one play, another 20-yard gain. So take away those two at 66 yards of 84 or 86. So like about 20 yards, 20-something yards on 10 other carries. So, I mean, he's not going to be someone that can consistently, like Donaldson, move the pile forward, get an extra, 2 or 3 yards. He can break tackles, and that's what leads to the long runs. But I think Speedy Luke is definitely a big play threat that Fresno State hasn't had since, I think, Malik Sherrod a couple years ago. And I'm talking about a couple years ago Sherrod, not last year Sherrod, where he struggled and then got injured.
No, 2 years ago, specifically the Boise State game at Bulldog Stadium, where he broke it open and had the kickoff for a touchdown with no time remaining. I was in the building, very happy about that.
I think he's who we thought Sherrod would be last year, like a big play guy with speed. But he's bigger than Sherrod, though. He is a capable back who can break tackles more than many other speedy running backs that we've seen.
But here's the big question: is we're 3 games in. Donaldson had to take a little time off. I'm not saying I'm not saying there is cause for concern in terms of injury aspect, but we are going to get to the wear and tear of the season.
Right.
Folks who play college football, in terms of college football video game, wear and tear. You hear it a lot. But the wear and tear of a football season is important to understand. And while it looks good right now, the question is, what can the next 9 games look like? And will these guys be playing the next 9 games? Are they capable of it? What are we going to do in terms of managing the workload, making sure we have the guys available as opposed to maybe getting other guys into the aspect of it? I imagine this Southern game, a lot more guys are going to get involved. I don't think we're going to get the 20 carries of Donaldson. We're going to get – I want to bet – do you think we get 4 guys with 10 carries at least in this game?
They've been trying to get Gilliam involved. I've noticed that. He pop in a play here and there, catch a pass for 10 yards, run for 10 yards. I think the fact that Gilliam is a third-string running back tells you a lot about how deep this room is. Like, Donaldson and Luke are RB1A and RB1B, in my opinion. And then you got Gilliam, who's the RB2, and he's a very capable guy. And then Brando has really stepped up this year. I think that you're right. They're probably going to have those 4 guys carry the rock about 10 times each. I like how this team is geared towards the run, and it's the perfect type of personnel for that because they're not going to wear these guys out. They're going to give, the 3rd and 4th and 5th string guy, Jonathan Arsenault, enough carry to take the load off Luke and Donaldson. So that way, when they go to Boise in November, when they have these huge games in conference play, they're not going to be all tired.
And I think this is what we were asking for last year, right? In terms of the makeup of it. We didn't get it because it wasn't executed very well.
They went with Gilliam a lot of October, and they only went to Donaldson after the Air Force game, that Colorado State game, when this conference race was already over and Fresno State wasn't in it.
Yeah.
Then they finally went to Donaldson, and I feel like they're not going to make that mistake, this coaching staff. Like, if they see Brando come out on Saturday and have 100 yards, we can start seeing him incorporated more and maybe less Gilliam, or maybe they take less off Donaldson's plate because he is banged up. But I like what I see from Luke. Like I said, he is a taller running back than most speedy guys, and I feel like he's stronger than you would think. Like, the fact that he can shake off a lot of these tackles on first contact, not a lot of guys with his skill set can do that.
I want to switch to the defensive side too, because I'm having a hard time evaluating or grading out what I'm seeing right now on the defensive side, just because I like, obviously, the 2 quarters of football out of the Georgia Southern game is exactly what you want in terms of everything. And you mentioned the turnover battle and winning that turnover battle in the Oregon State game. And yet there were some times where it was like, wow, how is that so open for this team in terms of the offense going up against it? But yet there are plays I'm like, wow, I cannot believe we executed. I'm still counting Kavion Thunderbird as a forced fumble. I don't care what the targeting rule is or whatever that is. That was a great play, and I would rather have him do a 10 out of 10 in terms of it. I'll take my chances in terms of the replay booth. But Gabe, when it comes to the defensive side, are you having a hard time evaluating like I am? Because there are times where this defense is making the plays it needs to. Jason Jacks, man, he is one of my favorite guys I've seen on this defense in terms of what his energized ability can be on the edge. He had that massive tackle for loss late in the game stages as far as that's concerned. But where you sit on the defensive side and how you're grading him out so far through 3 games?
I think the defensive line, I could still see some more from. Jason Jackson is the only guy on the D-line with a sack through 3 games. And this is a line that, you know, you have Corey Foreman, Clint Claypool. I know Lafitte, the starting D-tackle, was out this past game. So, you know, that's a starter. So you don't know who you're going to bring in there and replace him with.
is there in the middle too.
Yeah, so I know that there's a lot of newness in this defensive line. So I've kind of given them some grace a little bit, just waiting to see how they mesh together. So maybe by conference play, they're more of a pass rushing threat. But one of the best linebackers in the country right now, Jaden Pearson, who is going to clean up anything the defensive line doesn't stop. I think the secondary, there's some plays, and I don't know if it's because of the caliber of quarterback they've played recently. Like Malik Murphy is a talented arm. Mm-hmm. I thought he would be more mobile, but I realized about 2 drives into the game on Saturday, this guy's a great pocket passer. Like he's going to, if you give him enough time, which Fresno State did, maybe too much time, he's going to pick you apart. So that's kind of a worry because you look at who Fresno State will play this year. BFN for Colorado State's a good quarterback. Maddox Matson's a good quarterback. Like, if you give these guys too much time, this defense is going to struggle. It's all on the pass rush. I think if I see more pass rush from that defensive line up front for Fresno State, I would feel a lot better about this defense.
And then just assessing where we are in terms of assessing where the team is in comparison to, like you mentioned, the teams we're going to be facing in conference. Like we said, we're going to wrap up with Southern. We assume this is going to be a good game for the Bulldogs in terms of that.
They're not really good at all. Southern isn't. So
we looked at it. Sorry, we're just going to be playing about it in terms of that. We assume 3-1.
Also, have you seen their uniforms?
With the baby blue and yellow, and they're going to go back to my high school days. That was my high school colors.
You went to which one?
Heritage High School. Yeah, Heritage High School. The Patriots. Devin Rivers. What's up?
I was going to say, yeah.
But like, I look and evaluate in the landscape of it, and while the Bulldogs are playing decent football right now, I feel like they're playing the best football out of the Mountain West right now. Is that?
I think that says a lot about the Mountain West.
But I also worry like the Mountain West is so down right now.
Yeah. So look at their upcoming schedule after Southern, and they should win this game by 20 points. If they don't, then like sounding alarms.
Yeah.
Coaches might not like me saying that, but like, come on, Southern is not good at all.
Come on.
So after this, Hawaii. A trip to Hawaii is always tough, but they have 2 wins over Stanford and Sam Houston, both winless. Mm-hmm. So Hawaii hasn't really been battle-tested. Fresno State's played 2 Power 4 conference teams.
It's hard to play there.
Hard to play there, I know. And they got 2 quarterbacks who can play, so that kind of worries you. This could be higher scoring if the defense doesn't, get that pressure that I was talking about. Then you got home game against Nevada. Did not look impressive at all against Sac State. Their quarterback is having some issues, too, throwing the ball. Chubba Purdy. Road game at Colorado State. They barely beat Northern Colorado. Controversial catch at the end, non-catch. Des Bryant-esque. And then the home game against San Diego State, their offense was futile this past weekend against Washington State. So, you're going to have 4 winnable conference games after Southern before you got the big test on the road at Boise State. So, I don't know if people will expect 4-0 out of the first 4 conference home games. I don't know if they expect 3-1. I think 3-1 would be the safest bet. Maybe you look at the Hawaii game and you think it'd be tough to go there, especially coming off of 4 straight games. This is going to be their first bye week after the Hawaii game.
Yeah.
Are they going to be worn down a bit? I think that's why it's so important to get the starters out early in the Southern game. If you're up by 3 or 4 touchdowns by halftime, we shouldn't be seeing. And then you might have a quarterback controversy because if EJ's out and Carson lights it up, then you're going to have the obvious question of who's going to be the starter. And of course, Ensis is going to answer that question.
Of course. He can't wait. Can't wait to answer that next Monday.
But they should think about, because Hawaii is not going to be easy.
Yeah.
I think after that, if you get past that test, home against Nevada, road at Colorado State, home against San Diego State, none of those teams looked impressive last weekend. Fresno State, although they didn't look as impressive, they still won the game without playing their best football, which should tell you a lot about how good this team can be.
I'm going to ask this next question, but first it's brought to you by Chuchancy Gold Resort and Casino. The Daily Spread brought to you by them over there. Be sure to visit Chuchancy Gold Resort and Casino. I don't have a Vegas spread on this game for Southern, but where would you put it, Gabe, in terms of a spread in the game Saturday? Where would you assess it? You said by 21 at least. You hope for
21 and a half, but I think the reason there's no spread is because Fresno State would make a lot of people money.
Oh yeah, I'm feeling like 38.
Wow, I mean this is a team that doesn't throw the ball, so you got to keep your expectations in like.
I know
it's probably going to be like a 31-10 game. I can see them giving up a touchdown.
Did you dive into like how SWAC does on the West Coast? Have we ever learned like how any SWAC teams have done, or is that even worth the research?
No, I honestly, I know they scheduled this game pretty last minute. This was going to be another FCS team, I think it would be. But them getting Southern's huge because of the band. I think is
that the biggest story of the weekend?
Honestly, yeah, that is the biggest story of the weekend. Fresno. We're still talking about the Oregon State game, and then if we're not talking about the Oregon State game, we're talking about that cool band that's going to be on the field at halftime.
Yeah.
That's going to go against Fresno State. Like, that's the talking points.
Battle of the Bands. They have tabbed it as far as the athletic side of thing. I also Heroes Night. I think it is.
I mean, it's still cool because it's a different team. Like, you're not seeing Sac State come again to Fresno. You're not seeing
Eastern Washington,
New Mexico State. It's different, but the home non-conference schedule definitely not as strong this year as it's been when you had Minnesota coming. And you had who else recently? UConn. Even UConn was cool.
And Oregon State even.
Oregon State,
But now Oregon State's going to be coming next year, I would hope to believe, if we're going to get to that home and home side of things.
Can we talk real quick? Like, the Beavers look way different than 3 years ago. Like, 3 years ago, I was scared of them. And I could say that because they had Jonathan Smith 3 years ago, and they had a legit, like, ranked team 3 years ago when they beat Fresno on the last play.
Oregon State feels like it's going to be like a 4 or 5 win team this year.
For a while. Like, they're not going to get any better. And honestly, like, can you blame them? Their coach is not that good.
Yeah, exactly.
Trent Bray.
Instincts can score you real money fast, and here's the play. You just pick more or less on 2 more player stats from breakout rookies to elite QBs and unlock the upside every snap which it brings. The better your calls, the better your payout. Be sure to visit the DraftKings Pick 6 app. Take a look at all the offerings they have, including this Thursday night against the Packers and the Commanders. Should be a good one. Here's the kickoff bonus. New DraftKings customers get $50 in bonus picks with just a $5 entry. This season, player instincts. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code KFIG. It's code KFIG. Play just $5, get $50 in Pick 6 bonus picks. Make the call. Ride the upside. Partnership with DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 18 plus age, and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 bonus picks that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Richard's Prime Rib and Seafood, the original. Family run since '69. Slow roasted Angus prime rib, hand cut steaks, freshest seafood. Now open for lunch Wednesday to Friday, dinner Wednesday to Saturday. Lunch, fresh salads, open faced New York steak sandwich, the beef eater with Richard's famous prime rib. Dinner, 2 for $79.95. Best deal in town. Drinks, great food, good friends. Richard's Prime Rib and Seafood, the original.
Are you a business owner struggling to understand how cloud technology can help your business? Are you in need of computer and technology support for your employees? M-Cubed Technologies is your solution for fully managed IT services. 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. M-Cubed will be your partner in the digital world, allowing your business to carry on worry-free. We specialize in cloud hosting, Microsoft 365 management, general IT support, and VoIP phone services. Call M-Cubed Technologies today to discuss our partnerships.
At FFB, we know behind every business is a person. That's why we're more than a bank. We're a partner, a farming-focused bank for hard workers, a future-forward bank for big dreamers, and a family-friendly bank for the next generation of owners. From first ideas to major milestones, we're here to help you chase your goals and score big. So what can FFB mean for your business? Find out at ffb.bank. That's ffb.bank. FFB Bank. Let's win together.
Get ready, Fresno. The Grizzlies are back in the playoffs, and the action hits Chuck Chansey Park this Tuesday, September 9th. Most tickets are just $12, so bring your friends and family for an unforgettable night. Be one of the first 2,000 fans through the gates, and you'll get a free rally towel courtesy of Ardent General. After the final out, stick around for a spectacular post-game fireworks show lighting up downtown Fresno's sky. This is California. It happens here. Get your tickets now at FresnoGrizzlies.com.
Welcome to A+ Signs.
Thanks. Yeah, I need some custom exterior signs for my business.
Great. What's the name of your business?
C+ Signs.
Wait, you own a sign company?
Yep, C+ Signs.
And you want us, A+ Signs, to make your signs?
Yeah, I need them really fast, and we can't touch our turnaround times.
We are kind of known for that.
For signs that stop traffic, drive traffic, and even direct traffic, call A+ Signs.
Remember, A+ has great technicians to service and repair signs, too.
Yeah, we got a guy, but he's afraid of ladders.
Hey, it's Phil Bonatti from Behind the Bench for my friends at Valley Athletics, the new go-to sports facility in the Central Valley. Founded by Valley legend Vance Wahlberg and former Bulldog volleyball coach Jonathan Winder. Valley Athletics allows athletes to really shine and play. That's valleyathletics.co. Proud sponsors of high school athletics.
At Pioneer Equipment, your authorized Kubota dealer, our customers tell us they like Kubota better than Blue Tractors because of less downtime and easier controls. It's more cost-effective to own and operate, and it just keeps running when the season's on the line. That's why they trust Pioneer Equipment, your authorized Kubota dealer, for both sales and service, especially after harvest. With Fresno and Reedley locations, Pioneer Equipment, your authorized Kubota dealer, is ready for you. Visit PioneerEquipmentCA.com, where orange means go.
At Progressive, we understand the bond you have with your boat. It's why people name theirs.
I named my boat Sure Don't. Get it? The other day when my friend said, "Hey Larry, you want to head back in? It looks like it might rain." I said, "Sure don't." I guess they didn't get it because they didn't laugh.
Whatever you call your boat, protected by insuring it with Progressive, America's #1 boat insurer. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. #1 rating based on boat market share data from ratefilings.com.
ESPN Fresno, back again with another segment with Gabe here, and talking some high school football here because I want to dive into it. And Gabe, as much as you've been following this Fresno State season and all of it throughout, we're 3 weeks into this high school season, which is one that I think has had some surprises, to say the least, or some at least teams that are making the mark on the year. I want to play a game. I want to play a game of stock up if you want to play a game with me. Because I don't want to do stock down in high school. I don't want to do that. I just want to go stock up. Teams whose stock has been rising the first 3 weeks of the season in your mind. And I wonder if you're willing to play that game with me. And I can start if you want. And I'll throw out an entry, and we'll just go back and forth like 3 teams that we can feel like is stock up in terms of it. And I'll start with Clovis East as a team I've been wanting to talk about. I know it hasn't been the prettiest wins throughout these first 3 weeks. It's not been Clovis East of 2024, but they're still winning football games and finding ways to do it. And I'm telling you, the defense has been phenomenal throughout this year for Clovis East. I know it's a whole new team. 11 new starters on either side. I know I don't know if Lindsey Graves is getting healthier as he goes along.
I think when he gets back, that's going to totally improve this team's chances of contending for a championship in league or the section. But you're right. Even without him, they're winning games.
And so, obviously, they have a big, massive game against Grant up in Grant. And I'm not holding my breath on maybe them getting a win there, but maybe keeping it close. We saw what Central East did against them. It wasn't great. But I'm stock up on Clovis East this year. I did not expect this much of a miss much of a sustained winning ability from this roster. But here we are. They're 3-0 through 3 games.
I'm going to stock up on Clovis West, the team that you just watched. They're 2-1. That loss at Edison Huntington Beach was a 7-point loss on the road to the defending state champion. Like, that's not a bad loss at all. And then they come around and beat Liberty of Bakersfield by almost 30 points. And it's because of J.J. Howard, like 5 touchdown passes, able to spread it out to all his different playmakers. You saw R.J. Jefferson last week make an incredible touchdown at the beginning of that game. And and it's not just him. You got Dom Safoya, you got Juju Sanders, Amir Wright. Like, there's a lot of skilled receivers that JJ can throw to, and then the running game, if they get that going, that's an unstoppable offense. I did not think JJ would be such a talent at such this age.
Yeah.
Like, he's honestly, you could argue with Deegan Rose as top quarterback in the Central section. And Deegan's 2 years older than him.
We watched their game. We were calling their game this week against Edison of Stockton, and I think it's the ability to improvise in plays that aren't really they're breaking down in terms of that as far as that's concerned. They had a 4th and goal from the 15 that opened their drive, and they throw a back toe tap touchdown to R.J. Jefferson, which was as insane of a catch as I've seen this year in terms of it. So the big playability, it can be there for the Clovis West squad. I just want them to sustain a little bit more in the second halves of these games sometimes. Sometimes they get into lulls, and so we could potentially see them improve along the way. Clearly some more talented teams that I think they're going to be facing, obviously, when the track season rolls around. I'm fascinated in what they're going to look like. Maybe even start, because I think they start league play with that Clovis East team.
Yeah, and we don't know how good Liberty is, but they're going to face Buchanan in a couple of days here on a Thursday here in Clovis. So maybe after we see Liberty take on Buchanan, a different track team, we could really have a gauge of how impressive that Clovis West win was in Bakersfield.
Can I stock up, and I hope I don't steal them from you, can I stock up on Tulare Union?
Oh, yeah, that's fine. I mean, their stock was already so high. How could it get even higher?
Well, St. Joe's winning over them, who St. Joe's has an interesting resume so far this year. They were able to really handle Hanford, who I thought Hanford found a way to kind of bounce back after their tough loss earlier to the year, beating Sanger in a big matchup. But then St. Joe's really took it to Hanford, so I value St. Joe's in terms of what they've been able to provide. A 3-point win when St. Joe's phenomenal defense so far this year. Doing what they did against El Diamante and then beating Redwood in a shootout. I like what they have. They got some big games against some Bakersfield schools coming up. Ridgeview, a team they should beat. But Bakersfield Christian is a big matchup I'm looking forward to at the end of this month. Union, man, they'll score points. I think they're the best show maybe in the Central Valley right now in terms of actual point and outage. They're going to play some fun games.
I think that win over St. Joe's to start the season will age like wine because, you're right. St. Joseph's defense is really good. In fact, they're the only team in Jordan Crisp's career to hold him without a passing touchdown.
Wow.
So he just ended up with 4 rushing touchdowns to win the game 27-26 or something. It was a 1-point game, or I think 27-24.
Yeah.
So that in itself, the fact that Tulare can find different ways to win when their strength, which is the passing game, is neutralized, that's a sign of a good team. I like that pick. Their stock is even higher. A team whose stock was kind of low, and I'm really buying into them now, the Garza Guardians. They won on the last play of the game at Kerman High School. That's going to be so big when the playoffs come out because I think that could be a tiebreaker right there. Winning on the last play of the game to go 3-0. They own a 53-18 win against Mount Whitney. They also beat a team out of town, Mesa Verde. How are they doing it? Because they lost Caleb Matthews. They lost a ton of seniors. They just have guys stepping up, making plays. Their running game is solid. Garza's playing good defense. It's added up to one of Joseph Ferris's most impressive jobs since he's been at Garza.
I think that's a good call. We have Garza on our schedule. I think we have him at Sanger, I want to say. Potentially. So I think that'll be an interesting matchup to spot. Is that a league game? I think that is, right?
Yeah.
So that'll
could be for the league championship.
It could be. Because do you feel like those are the two?
Well, Madera,
it's a hard one.
Madera's another stock up.
That's what I was going to say. Madera in the next one. Have you seen the running back that they have, the freshman?
No. But I know they graduated a ton from last year's team. So, again, a team that I didn't have that much expectation for because – like Garza, they're rebuilding, but Madera's also 3-0, and their stock's up.
So I'm going to, Are you claiming them as your third? Or
you can take them. I know I jumped in because you asked who else could be in the CMAC. I think it's Sanger, Garza, Madera as those top 3 teams. Bullard, you can argue because they looked really good against Hoover, but
Yeah.
I had that game against Clovis Easton in the back of my mind.
I'll give you Madera. I'm going to let you have Madera. By the way, I want to get the name of the running back that's just killing it. Hold on.
Madera?
Yeah, he's a freshman, and his name is Anthony Estrada. Let me see if I can find his last 3 games. Let me read this stat line for you. It's been eye-popping on the Max Prep side of things. How about 192 yards against Sunnyside, 2 touchdowns? How about 242 yards and 4 touchdowns against Torres? How about 182 and 3 touchdowns against Paso Robles? He has 9 touchdowns in 3 games so far. He's averaging 12.3 yards.
He's a freshman?
Carry. He is a freshman.
Wow.
Yeah. Anthony Estrada is a name you want to get to know
for sure
in the Central section. I'm loving just if you like stats, if you like watching a team that's putting up stats, how about some Golden West? I'm really enjoying Jaden Nahara and what he's been able to do. He's a second-year starter for this team, the Trailblazers, who I know you like some of your kind of South Valley guys, the Visalia, Tulare guys, as far as that's concerned. They beat a Mission Oak team that was undefeated going into this. They got North coming up, and feels like a team that could be an 8-9 win team this year in terms of it, and potentially fighting for a high seed in playoffs. Golden West, man, they're fun to watch.
I just worry if their league is going to be strong enough, and I think it will. Redwood's a strong outfit. They're the ones that were right in it with Tulare last week, had multiple leads, lost on the last second touchdown by Tulare Union. Redwoods are going to be probably the best team Golden West faces all year, and I think that might be what's different from this past season where Golden West, yes, they won 9 games. They lost in the semis. CVC controlled that game from start to finish, so I don't think Golden West is going to run into that problem this year. They're going to be really battle-tested. Porterville's another strong outfit in the EYL. They shut out Selma this past weekend, 41-0. They got a senior quarterback. So the EYL is much tougher this year than last year. I think Golden West is still the best team in that league, but because that league is tougher, I don't worry about them coming into playoffs not battle-tested. They're definitely going to have to win some really hard games if they're going to win that league. And if they win that league, they should be a top 2 or 3 seed in Division II.
We're good on the stock up game, but I wanted to hit some other things as far as the other teams are concerned. You did mention Buchanan, and maybe they're kind of like an honorable mention stock up team. Had a tough go against Bakersfield. I wouldn't say they got in a shootout with Edison. They maybe gave them a lot of points that one in terms of it. The final score looking a little bit better there. But taking care of a Kennedy team who took care of Hanford,
Right. Well, if you're Buchanan, you got to keep in mind you're going to face Clovis West, Central East, Clovis High School. So, I mean, wins over Kennedy and Edison.
Yeah.
You're going to look at this Liberty game on Thursday, and that's going to be your barometer for where you're
We're going to see where it all
Exactly.
sits.
So Buchanan, that one game against Bakersfield, that Bakersfield's a team that gets you ready for the track.
Yeah.
Whereas Kennedy and Edison, not so much. I think the strongest strength of schedule in the track, correct me if I'm wrong, does it belong to Central East? I feel like it kind of does. Clovis High's challenging itself. The fact that they went to Frontier and played a Division I AA team. I mean, Frontier is going to be in Division I AA.
Yeah.
Like, good for them for going on the road and getting that experience. I think Clovis has a tough schedule. Central East has a tough schedule. West, I mean, them going to Edison and Huntington Beach, I think makes their schedule more tough than last year. But I've always said you're only as good as your schedule. So if your schedule is paper, you're not going to be able to get that experience for league play in the playoffs. But if you're scheduling those tough non-conference games like Central East did going to Grant, they've scheduled Inglewood. They faced who did they face this past week? Turlock?
Turlock, yeah.
I know Turlock's up and down, but still, like, give credit to Central East for going to Grant. And even though they lost that game, Grant's one of the top teams in Sacramento. They're better because of it. And Clovis East goes to Grant this week. So, again, I credit those that scheduled the tough non-conference games. I give those teams the benefit of the doubt more than those who don't have as tough of a schedule.
What about Clovis North? I just want to talk about
and
them for a
that's
second.
funny you mentioned that because I was just thinking I'm missing a team, and North's kind of flown under the radar.
They've been
a
on
bit.
the bye this week, so they were kind of not in the front of mind. So they had the bye this week. They do a shootout with Redwood, who Redwood was just in a shootout with Tulare Union, right? Beating handedly San Joaquin Memorial. They get CVC, who they should be able to handle because CVC's had some tough times this year. They go up against a San Ramon Valley team that I think is going to be pretty good in terms of rankings as far as the Northern California side of things. We have our eyes circled on them against Frontier, which that I think has a lot of bearing in terms of the playoffs as far as that game is concerned. The last kind of a non-conference, non-league game before Clovis North can get into it. North is an interesting puzzle piece to sit in the track because I still think there's a lot of unknown to what they're doing as far as that's concerned. Where do you have you had your feelings around Clovis North just quite this year? Or?
The fact that they beat Redwood the way they did, I mean, I thought they were going to lose that game, Phil. They were down by 3 points going into the last minute of the game, and they end up scoring a touchdown to go and win at 38-34. It depends on your thoughts on Redwood, I guess, right? If you think Redwood is a Division 1A team this year, then even though they lost Briggs in the offseason, they're still a strong team.
Jimmy Burke is one of the best running backs.
If you think that, then you think North got a quality win there. But, again, look at who North's going to play next month. They're going to play against the Titans of the track. And so that CBC game this week, they should probably win that. But I'm really looking at San Ramon Valley and Frontier, those 2 home games against 2 out-of-town teams, as when we'll finally realize, okay, is this Clovis North team a dark horse? I know last year the conversation was totally around North and East in the track. I kind of look at those teams as now more wildcard picks, the outsiders to a clear top 3 of Central East, Clovis, and Clovis West. I think you can argue that Clovis West has looked better against better competition so far than Clovis North. Would you disagree there? I mean, there's one more game for Clovis West, but they have wins over definitely scoring. I think that could be something that carries.
Who's been putting up some good stats for J.R. Cruz, who's a sophomore. He's been putting up a lot of as far as the run game is concerned. So I know they've been trying to replace the production. It's hard to replace the production of a guy like McKay Madsen from a year ago and what he was standing for as far as that's concerned. I'm curious to see what the defense still looks like as far as what they have.
They probably love that they're over, though. I think
it's phenomenal. It's a great spot to be for a first-year head coach, right, too, as far as that's concerned.
Yeah.
You'll take it. Do we want to rank the track real quick?
We could. I mean, it's like I said, I think
I was ready to put Clovis 1 until last week. I was so ready to do it. And then
you still could, honestly, and get away with it. Because you could argue Central East, some of the injuries that they got. I know they could get Zeb White back.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be wrong putting Central East or Clovis at number 1.
I saw the ferocious defense that was Clovis going up against that Salinas team, and I understand what Salinas is.
Did you say ferocious defense?
It
Clovis?
was. I did say that.
Okay.
Pat Hill was as complimentary as I've ever heard of the guy on
Salinas,
defense.
Salinas, though.
I know. I understand, but the guys have to show the physical capabilities of what they're doing on the field.
If their defense is ferocious, like you say, then Clovis should be 1.
It is. It was better than what I saw from Central East, and I'll say that.
Okay, but you got to keep in mind, Central East, they play, I think, more guys 2 ways, so that could be something that we look at and say
because Bayon Harris became an edge rusher this year.
Yeah, Brandon Smith too, I think,
and Brandon Smith on the linebacker side. Brandon Smith had did he have a pick 6 in our game week 1? I think he did, or he had some sort of interception. I think he did only have an interception, not a pick 6. But Bayon Harris had a play on the edge, pursued the quarterback. Fumble, recovery, the whole 9 yards in terms of that. If he's a weapon like that on the edge, which we haven't seen, that's going to be a difference maker in terms of it. But like you said, the 2-way side of it, if you're going to go fast like Central East does, or if you're going to be quick play, big time ability like Central East on offense, those guys are going to get tired.
We're still months away from the playoffs, but I feel like Central East and Clovis, that game, middle of the season, that's going to be potentially one of 2.
Yeah.
Those 2 teams can play each other again in the semis or final. And last year we saw Clovis East beat Central in the regular season, but they weren't able to get the same thing done in the playoffs. And I'm curious if something similar happens. Because Central East, they lost to Grant, but they've never been the type of team that is stronger in September than they are in November. They've always been better with more game experience. And so I think Clovis... I think it's been kind of the opposite. Clovis has been the team, like last year, they started out 6-0, and then they lose 4 of the next 6 games, and they lose to Central East twice. I wonder if this loss to Frontier is a good thing for Clovis, because starting undefeated last year didn't do them any good. They lost. They lost in the semis. semis. I wonder if this is actually a better thing for Clovis. To lose on the road to Frontier, You get the kids' attention at practice more. You get them saying, like, hey, we're not good enough right now to win the Valley, but let's get there, right? I think Clovis should be scarier than past Clovis teams. I know we always say every 3 or 4 years, this is the Clovis year. This is the year that Drive for 9 leads to success. I think this year they have a better chance than previous times you've said that.
It's going to be interesting arguments in terms of the seeding, too, when it comes to the Bakersfield side of things as well, with Frontier in that aspect. They have beaten Clovis. They have beaten anybody who's been in the Central section. So you could argue what they did against Oak Ridge and what they faced with Liberty of Brentwood, which those were their opening losses. And you say Frontier only scores 14 points through 2 weeks, but what is the argument in terms of them? Are they the number one seed right now in terms of what they're showing, even though they've had 2 losses out of the Central section? But I think Central East still right now holds that top spot for me. Then you could probably go Frontier, and then you could probably go Clovis in terms of that.
Frontier. I don't know. I just have a feeling like Liberty will beat Frontier this year. Like the Bakersfield schools in football.
I'm not sold on Liberty at all.
They're so up and down.
I'm not sold on Liberty at all. That's where I'm at.
That's purely because of the Clovis West game.
Yeah.
But again, we're talking really early. I don't know much about Bakersfield schools at all, but I'll tell you, I think that says more about how good Clovis West is than how bad Liberty is. Liberty and Frontier, they have a great rivalry down there. I feel like every year it's a toss-up. Just throw out the records, throw out who has who on whose team. Like, they're going to be pretty even. I don't think this is going to be a year where Bakersfield wins it. I know we've had those seasons in the past. I think the talent gap between Central East, Clovis, and Clovis West is just wider than everyone else.
That's why the Clovis North Frontier game unlocks a lot of things for me in terms of the perspective. I think that's the game that unlocks everything in terms of whose perspective is who.
That game was played in Bakersfield, right? Clovis losing to Frontier by a point.
Yeah, and so it'll be in that was in Bakersfield.
But
Frontier's
this game
coming up to North here.
Okay,
and that's going to be actually a La Monica. I do know that.
So if Frontier loses, I would argue, don't say Clovis North is better than Clovis.
Yeah.
Say that Frontier, if they're on the road, they're easier to beat than when you're at Frontier.
Interesting.
That's what I would say.
Let's take a quick break. We'll wrap up the hour here. You're listening to Behind the Bench on 1430 here, ESPN Fresno, the Valley's local sports leader.
At Citizens Business Bank, we've been taking a personal approach to banking for over 40 years and are consistently recognized as one of the top-performing banks in the nation. Hi, I'm Susan Woosner, Senior Vice President and Manager of Citizens Business Bank in Fresno. We believe in the importance of building long-lasting and genuine relationships with our customers. We want to provide you with the solutions you need to grow your business because your success is our success. Citizens Business Bank, member FDIC.
Need cash? If you've got a car, we've got the cash. Clausen Honda wants to buy your car. If it's running, we want your late model Toyota, Hyundai, Kia, Subaru, Acura, or Honda. Just call Clausen and ask for our VUP to schedule your appraisal appointment. In just 10 minutes, you'll get your cash value quote. Yes, we are eliminating the hassle of getting rid of your used old car. So if you're ready to sell, we are ready to buy. Call Clausen Honda of Fresno today. If you've got a car, we've got the cash. Get cash for your car. Clausen Honda.
Are cracked screens or dying batteries slowing you down? Don't fret! Visit Cellfix today for fast and reliable phone repairs. Our certified technicians specialize in fixing all major brands, ensuring your device is back in your hands in no time. Plus, enjoy peace of mind with our warranty on all repairs. Visit us at our convenient location at 6551 North Blackstone or call 559-765-8044 to schedule an appointment. Cellfix, your trusted partner in phone repairs. Get back to what matters. Stay connected with Cellfix.
Football is back, and so is your shot at big wins. With DraftKings Pick 6, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL, your game day instincts can score you real money fast. Here's the play. Just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats, from breakout rookies to elite QBs, and unlock the upside every snap brings. The better your calls, the better your payout. And here's the kickoff bonus. New DraftKings customers get $50 in bonus picks with just a $5 entry. This season, play your player instincts. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use the code KFIG. That's code KFIG. Play just $5, get $50 in Pick 6 bonus picks. Make the call. Ride the upside in partnership with DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 bonus picks that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Summer's wrapping up. It's time to get back to business and back to looking sharp. The holidays will be here before you know it, along with every big event in between. At Fresno Suit Outlet, they've got you covered with their famous 3-suit deal. 3 suits, 3 shirts, 3 ties, 3 belts, 3 pairs of socks, and 3 hankies, just $3.99. Plus shoes start at just $39 too. Only at the Fresno Suit Outlet on Blackstone, just north of Shaw, with the Golden Horse out front, and online at FresnoSuitOutlet.com.
Football season's here, and it's time to upgrade your home team's game plan with Robinson's Interiors. Whether you're hosting the big game or relaxing after a win, the right flooring can make all the difference. From durable hardwood to cozy carpet, Robinson's Interiors has the best selection and unbeatable prices, all backed by professional installation the Valley has trusted for over 40 years. So give yourself home field advantage. Don't wait for the touchdown. Visit Robinson's Interiors in Fresno and Hanford today. Robinson's Interiors, the Valley's flooring MVP.
Are you tired of waiting forever for your prescriptions? Grizzly Pharmacy is here to tame your healthcare needs. We fill most prescriptions in 15 minutes or less, always accepting new patients, and enjoy free delivery to your home or workplace in Fresno and Clovis. We accept all major insurance, including Medi-Cal, Blue Cross, and Optum Rx. For our Fresno location, please call 559-424-0423 or visit grizzlypharmacy.com for more information.
Because Jorge is the eternal optimist. Are you a believer in the Giants? They're 3 games out of a wild card. They are 7 games out of first from the Dodgers. They're 6 games back of the Padres. They have been on a tear over the last 3 weeks or so since they played Milwaukee in Milwaukee. Are you believing in the Giants, or are you moving on to football season?
I've moved on to football season because the Raiders look so great. Their defense looks rejuvenated. And that could just be how bad the Patriots are. Honestly, I could have false hope. But because of how well the Giants have played, I think they've lost 3 games the last 2 weeks. I do like that they're playing better. It's more optimism for next season. But they got 7 against the Dodgers. And the Dodgers are the best team in baseball. I don't care what their record says. I don't care how trash their bullpen is. Like, the Dodgers are going to be a team you got to get Betts, Ohtani, and Freeman out at the top of that lineup. Teoscar as well. Like, those are playoff heroes. They've done it before. They know when to turn it on. Like, the Dodgers, I think they're going to take 4 or 5 from the Giants the next 2 weekends, and that's it for San Francisco.
I'm raising my eyebrows if the Giants sweep them this weekend. I'm raising my
There's
eyebrows.
no chance.
I'm raising my eyebrows.
Sweep is crazy.
That's crazy?
Sweep is crazy.
I know we were making the joke, like, of the 7 games they would sweep them, get into playoff position and stuff, but if that actually happens, I would agree
tweeting
with
the
you.
eye emojis after 2. I'm doing it. I'm sending the eye emojis after 2. Gabe, where can people find you?
On Twitter or X, whatever you call it, at Gabe Camarillo _. And yeah, that's where I do most of my social media posting.
All right. We'll see you at the game on Saturday.
Yeah. I'll see you at the game tonight, actually.
Yeah, the game tonight. That's right. Grizzlies game. We'll see you there, and then we'll see you Saturday. Game.
Ethan Holiday, 1 for 3 with 2 walks.
I think he gets a homer tonight.
1 for 3, 2 walks, caught stealing.
All right. Good call. We'll see it. Gabe, appreciate it as always. We'll see you around. All right. Take a break. Hour number 3. Hour number 3, yes. Coming up next on 1430 ESPN.
Want to work somewhere fun, flexible, and rewarding? Me and Ed's is hiring. We're looking to expand our team with full and part-time positions at over 40 locations. Join our growing company as a delivery driver or valued team member today. For more information on job descriptions or to apply, go online at meandeds.com or visit your nearest location. Me and Ed's is hiring. Fill out an application.
Okay, you're the efficiency consultant. Lay it on me. How are we going to save my business some money?
Your company's retirement plan.
What now?
Do you have any idea what you're paying your HR staff just to manage your retirement plan? Enrollments, regulations, documenting salary and deferral changes, distributions, and the list goes on. They can spend hours dealing with your provider every time an employee has a question or request.
I don't even want to calculate what I'm spending on that.
I already did. Here's the number.
I think I'm going to be sick. But who else is going to do all that?
401k specialists. Their team will do that all for you and way more cost effectively. And they're powered by Thies & Duker Modern Wealth Management, so you'll be getting great investment advice too.
Well, that's a big no-brainer. How do I make this happen?
Just visit thiesandduker.com to learn more. Then give 401k specialist a call. And I think I just paid for my invoice, which is right here, by the way. The advisors of Thies & Duker Modern Wealth Management are registered representatives with and securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC.
At Helena Agri-Enterprises, we're committed to helping you make the best agronomic decisions for your farm. That's why we combine cutting-edge technology with superior product. Helena's agri-intelligence solutions use in-depth analysis to identify potential problems in the field before they take root. Combined with a complete line of high-quality crop production and crop protection inputs, Helena has the tools to help you increase productivity, enhance performance, and maximize your return on investment. Contact your local Helena representative or authorized dealer to create the right plan for your farm with Helena Products and Agri-Intelligence Solutions.
For 80 years, Fresno Pacific University has been shaping the heart and soul of California as the Central Valley's only accredited Christian university. Today, our deep faith roots and pride in our community drive us to provide affordable, career-relevant education that transforms the lives of our students and the communities they serve. Discover your calling through over 100 undergraduate and graduate programs offered on campus or fully online. Fresno Pacific University. Learn more at fpu.edu.
Quick, where can you find a great selection of Tempur-Pedic, Stearns & Foster, Serta, and Mattress First bedding? Easy. The same place you'll find adjustable beds, sheets, pillows, mattress protectors, and more. Sleep Retreat, inside fashion furniture. It's worth the time to walk through and imagine what your home could look like with beautiful new furniture. Or how comfortable you'll be on your new mattress. Fashion Furniture on El Paso, across from River Park. There's nothing like it in all of California.
Your Fresno State Bulldogs are fighting for that Mountain West championship. There's nothing better than rooting for your Bulldogs as they battle it out on the gridiron, representing your city of Fresno. Bring the whole family and get loud cheering on your Bulldogs at Valley Children's Stadium all season long. Be sure to check out GoBulldogs.com today for information on special events and to grab your tickets for upcoming home games. Go Dogs!
At Citizens Business Bank, we've been taking a personal approach to banking for over 40 years and are consistently recognized as one of the top performing banks in the nation. Hi, I'm Susan Woosner, Senior Vice President and Manager of Citizens Business Bank in Fresno. We believe in the importance of building long-lasting and genuine relationships with our customers. We want to provide you with the solutions you need to grow your business because your success is our success. Citizens Business Bank, member FDIC.
Your home for high school sports. 1430 ESPN, the Valley's local sports leader. KFIG Fresno.
I'm Christine Lisi. The NL East leading Phillies off to a quick start on this Tuesday night against a Mets team looking to hold on to the final NL wildcard spot.
Wind up in the 1-1. And a swing and a line drive deep left field. Down the line, Nimmo looking up, and that ball is gone. And Bader goes back-to-back with Otto Kemp. Phillies lead 4-0. 16th of the year for Harrison Bader, and he continues to torment his former team.
Well, no doubt about that. That was just a line shot.
The call on Sports Radio 94 WIP. Phil's lead at 4-0 top five on the Mets. White Sox leading the Rays 1-0 after one. Guardians up 2-0 on the Royals top seven. Cleveland, Kansas City, Tampa Bay all in the hunt for the final AL wildcard spot. AL West leading Astros, leading the AL East leading Blue Jays. Bottom three on a two-run shot by Carlos Correa. And Judge, 44th home run of the season. That's given the Yankees a 1-0 Central in play this week. 49ers tight end George Kittle landing on injured reserve with a hamstring injury, meaning he is out at least the next 4 games. Quarterback Brock Purdy, toe and shoulder injuries, uncertain Sunday against the Saints.
Hey, this is Rich Eisen. Coming up on Wednesday's show, Hall of Famer quarterback Kurt Warner joins me. Comedian Frank Caliendo stops by in studio, plus my Week 2 NFL Power Rankings. That's on Wednesday of The Rich Eisen Show on Disney+, the ESPN app, and ESPN Radio.
He's got the knowledge.
Because once again, I have to come on there and talk about how right I am once again.
in anything that it comes to sports.
He's got the questions.
I'm going to lose it. Are you kidding me? What are we doing here?
He's got the guests.
20th head coach in Fresno State history here, man. Is it hard to believe sometimes still, the 20th head coach here in program history?
It's all moved really quickly here over the course of the last 5-6 weeks, but super excited to be here.
Phil Bonatti is the voice for the Central Valley sports leader. Behind the Bench starts now. Brought to you by Helena Agri.
That's right. Behind the Bench here on 1430 ESPN Fresno, the Valley's local sports leader. Hour number 3 of our show here on this awesome Tuesday. Grizzlies playoffs. It's on my mind. I'm getting ready to head on down there. One more hour, and we're going to head over to Chick-Chancellor Ballpark. Of course, you can listen to the game tonight on 790 at 6:35 p.m. Grizzlies, Giants, Game 1 out of a 3-game set. Grizzlies' only home game of the playoff series, so they'll look to win. And that would be the only home game left on the entire schedule. So see if the Grizzlies can handle business, make it happen, and then they'll be playing for a championship series coming up next week. Of course, in terms of the NFL, but I'm sure you've been made aware of it. But I just want to state for the record, I have just seen a list of the Niners 2023 draft, and my goodness. Do you want to be reminded of this list of the 2023?
I wonder if I can name some of these absolute terrible players.
Yeah, is it one of the worst draft classes in a team history as we've seen ever in the that Jake Moody is no longer on this football team?
The sad reality is that this is a more common theme than some people would like to think, right?
Yeah.
The 49ers have not drafted well at the start of drafts for years on end. And I just think that I'm not going to say it's continued because I think they've actually drafted pretty well in the last 2 years, like last year and this year. But, yeah, some of those were pretty horrible.
Do you know who they picked first? Do you have it off the top of your head?
So I know, was it Drake Jackson that got picked in the second round that year? No.
The first pick was in the 3rd round.
Okay, so that would have been Cameron Latu, Jake Moody then it was
missing the safety picked 87th overall.
Safety. Oh, Jair Brown.
Jair Brown. Yes. Then Jake Moody. Then Cam Latu in the 3rd round. Cam Latu, a tight end who I don't believe has an NFL catch in his career.
It was a horrible pick then, and
How about in round 5 at 155 overall? You got it?
I think it was Darrell Luter Jr.
Yep, there you go.
Okay.
Round 5, 173 overall. Outside linebacker.
Outside linebacker. Jeez. I don't think I know.
Robert Beal.
Yes. Okay. Gotcha.
Might be the next guy might be the best of the class. Round 6. I would say probably round 6, 216 overall linebacker.
Probably. D Winters.
D Winters.
Yeah.
I think arguably most likely the best. Yeah.
It's between him and Jair Brown.
Yeah.
I think.
Round 7, tight end at 247 overall.
Don't know.
Braden Willis.
Yes. Braden Willis made the roster over Cam Latu.
Wow.
So that I don't know if I'm pretty sure he's not on the roster anymore.
No,
but that year I remember he made it over Latu.
I love this next one. Round 7, 253 overall, wide receiver.
Round 7, wide receiver, 253 overall.
I love clowning my Niner friends with this guy.
I don't know.
My boy, Ronnie Bell. My
yes.
boy. I love me some Ronnie Bell. I don't think he's on the roster anymore.
No.
And then
rightfully so.
Rounded out round 7, 255 overall at the safety position. The one, the only, Jalen Graham.
Oh, he's a linebacker.
He says safety here when they drafted him. Maybe a converted linebacker.
No, okay.
Maybe
I'm wrong. I don't know.
Anyways, one of the worst draft classes we may have seen in Niner history or even team history or in the last. There are some rough ones.
Yeah.
May I show exhibits of Bill Belichick drafts in 21 to 23. So there you go. All right. We got a 5 of 5 to do. And it's quite simple. The top 5 surprises from week 1 of the NFL. Just what surprised you this week? I think there's some interesting, obviously some great things that happened over the NFL Sunday, and we got a lot of thoughts about it. And so first off, we'll play the music here.
It's time now for Phil's 5 at 5.
I don't think I need to really explain what a surprise is to me, but it's the things that I definitely didn't take account for in terms of what I was watching. And so to those, and Tanvir and I will go here. Primetime situation, and by the way, McCarthy's going to have it again in a primetime situation with Atlanta, but this week. But his poise in the fourth quarter, I wasn't expecting him to be the guy that was able to lean on the offensive output that the Vikings were able to do, and he looked like I would say that was a top 10 quarterback fourth quarter performance, top 5 fourth quarter quarterback performance of this week one. He was absolutely impressive to me, and is my number 5.
Oh, agreed. Yeah, for sure. To get 3 touchdowns in any quarter is impressive. But, yeah, definitely after what he did in those first 3 quarters, I think it's definitely something to applaud. My number 5 was, I kind of talked about it before, Caleb Williams still having issues even with the improved offensive line. You know, I actually think if you looked at that offensive line last night, they were really good. Like Drew Dahlman, I thought, played pretty well. Tooney and those boys were blocking pretty well for Caleb Williams, and I think the first drive for the Chicago Bears showed so much performance because they diced up a pretty good Vikings defense that is led by Brian Flores. But as we saw the game progress, I think I've stated this earlier in this episode, like it devolved back into what we saw a lot of what Caleb Williams did last year, and overthrowing guys even in the face of no pressure. And it's maybe not necessarily like an overarching surprise for the game per se, but I think as the game started to how the game ended, I was pretty surprised that it was just not even close to being as effective as that first quarter.
I feel like Caleb ran into a lot of situations with himself. It was one of those guys who kind of created the pressure as opposed to the pressure creating it itself in terms of that last night. I joked with my friends. I want a gif of him falling over trying to throw that pass when he was like completely falling flat to the face. You know what play I'm talking about?
Right.
He was trying to throw it away and just did. I joked. I was like, this is an epitome of what my friend is like trying to play fantasy football every year. And he, by the way, he lost by 50. That said, friend.
Jeez.
Once again, to a person who barely has played fantasy football.
It's all good. Only week 1.
Only week 1. We pick ourselves up. Let's go to
number 4.
The Lions' struggles on offense. I know everybody was making everything about Ben Johnson and him leaving and that being a potential issue for the Lions, but I had to believe that they were going to be. And by the way, when I was watching this game I have a take about Red Zone, by the way. Every time I saw this game, it seemed like the Lions had the football and they were moving the football, and yet they weren't efficient in terms of finishing drives and making things happen, especially in the ground. Packers weren't like the greatest defense down the stretch of last year. The Eagles pretty handily handed them the loss there in the playoffs, but I didn't think the Lions would struggle that much in terms of where they were going in offense. And I don't know if I have complete concerns about it moving forward, but that was an eye-opener to start the season because I thought that was going to be a much closer game than a lot of people made it out to be. So I'll say that as much as the Lions struggled down the stretch in those football games in the offensive side, surprised me a lot.
Yeah, my number 4, I also have something that I talked about earlier in this episode about the San Francisco 49ers and how good they looked against this Seattle offense. I mean, it was a lot of young guys. You have Upton Stout. You have Marcus Siegel, I've already talked about. D. Winters, I thought, looked really good in that game. And it was against a team that had capable weapons like JSN, Cooper Kupp, Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet, and a new offensive coordinator that I thought could really work with Sam Darnold's positives, right? And make them better than what we saw in Minnesota. But that rush defense, which was absolutely terrible last season, only allowed 67 rush yards, and they allowed 20 to Kenneth Walker, a guy that can break open a game. So, big up to the San Francisco 49ers defense, allowing only 2 points, 2 turnovers, 2 big turnovers to win that game. And ultimately, I think they were the reason that the 49ers won in Seattle.
Let's be honest. I thought they were going to struggle, especially when I trusted with Seattle's offense. I thought they had pieces to make things have issues. And let's be fair, JSN had still a big game in terms of it, and the Niners will have to manage the situations, but I thought they managed it pretty well. They didn't really they made Seattle kind of be a little one-dimensional in the offensive side as well. We knew Seattle could struggle in that run game anyways. So, by the way, my hot take about Red Zone, I think it's much better in the afternoon window as opposed to the morning window when there's 8 things going on at the same time. I don't put on Red Zone in the morning. The witching hour can go to hell.
Oh, wow. Really?
I am a afternoon Red Zone guy when there's 4 or 3 games on because it's just me flipping the channels. I would be flipping the channels anyway.
Right.
So why not have it do it for me?
No, I can understand
and
that.
I like the I feel like I consume the games better via Red Zone in the afternoon as opposed to the morning.
I guess I just love the chaos.
That's fair. That's fair. No, this is how my Sunday went. I watched Patriots Raiders all the way through. I got my updates when it happened in the game, and then I went to Red Zone when the afternoon happened.
Good plan.
And I feel like that's a better way to watch football, but that's just me. I joked. I'm like, I don't watch Red Zone. I'm an adult.
Hey, you don't besmirch Red Zone.
All right.
Number 3.
I was surprised it was an offensive shootout in the Meadowlands, in what is it, East Rutherford, New Jersey, whatever it is, the MetLife. I made that the worst game of the day in terms of the worst game of the entire week, and maybe I'll put a little egg on my face as far as that's concerned. That game seemed to have a lot of juice. Let's be fair, I didn't really watch it completely, but to be fair, those teams showcasing their ability to move the ball down, up and down the field. Rodgers showing some sort of sign of life in terms of moving the ball down as far as it's concerned. The Jets and their run attack, is that simply a product of Pittsburgh's inability to stop the run, or was this a game that showcased that these two teams are capable of making plays when they need to? It was a back-and-forth affair. It was a much better game than I thought. Maybe I had a little bias going on in terms of it, but it surprised me how much of that game was indicative of two teams really going at it, and I thought it was a good one.
Yeah, I think we have a lot of the same games, but a little bit of a different takeaway. I also have Breece Hall and Justin Fields absolutely torching this Steelers rush defense.
Yeah.
You know, I talked about it a little bit before the show started. This Steelers defense was 6th in the NFL in terms of rush yards allowed, and I think they were 8th.
Let me tell you, I believed in them.
No, yeah, for sure. And maybe, you know, the fact that Cameron Hayward sat out for so many weeks kind of definitely affected them. They still have TJ Watt on this team, right? And so the fact that Justin Fields and Breece Hall, both of which, who I think this is a tandem that has been marred with inconsistencies, in facing this Steelers defense that was that good in rush defense last year, the fact that they actually shredded this team on the ground was really surprising for me. They combined for 155 rushing yards and 2 rush TDs with multiple explosive runs. I think the biggest rush for both of those guys were 16 and 18 yards respectively. So that was a little bit of a surprise for me for sure.
Let's go to, we're at number 2?
Number 2.
How about the complete offensive performance from Indianapolis? I knew that game was going to be a struggle for both those teams in terms of how it was going to work out and play, and I wasn't really particularly fond of watching that game. But let's be honest, and I get it, maybe it's a product of how bad Miami can be and what they will be on potentially their defensive side of the football, but you have to make the plays when the plays have to be made, and Daniel Jones did something not even Peyton Manning can say he did in Indianapolis, which was start a season and not have to punt. He scored on every single drive he was a quarterback of for the Indianapolis Colts. That is hard to do. It's the NFL. I get it. And so I would give kudos and credit to the Colts for finding ways to just be efficient on offense. They were methodical, and I don't know if I was going to put those words ever this year in terms of the Indianapolis Colts. So they surprised me. It's a good team beating what I think is a really bad team, and that's what good teams do. And maybe the Colts are a good team, and that's where I think they surprised me at number 2 here.
Yeah, my number 2 is about a game that you talked about earlier. It was the Detroit Lions and how anemic their rush offense looked. Even with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, they were absolutely non-existent on the ground in this game between the Lions and the Packers. A team that was 6th in rush yards last season and 7th in rush effectiveness. They were stuffed for 22 carries for 46 yards. So a team that depends on their running game to open up their deep passing game last year with Ben Johnson. They just lacked creativity, in my opinion, without him. And I think that also the retirement of Frank Ragnow was a real issue in this game. Now, granted, the Packers defense, very, very good. They got Micah Parsons there now, but they also already had like guys like Rashawn Gary and some of the secondary players that are really, really good. So I was a little shocked at maybe not the win on the Packers side, but the lack of rushing effectiveness that this Lions team had on Sunday.
It's a good call.
Number 1.
Let's talk about the competent Raiders. The Raiders handing it to the Patriots this week, and I get it. Maybe it shouldn't become as a surprise with Pete Carroll at the helm of it, but I expected some growing pains. I didn't particularly feel like the talent was there on the roster, and I know the Patriots roster isn't as talented either, but for a lot of people who believe Drake May is a guy who is going to take the next step, notably some people in the media even calling him baby Josh Allen, he certainly didn't look like it. And Max Crosby, once again, a phenomenal player off the edge for the Raiders, but it seemed like the Raiders were stuck to every Patriots wide receiver that was out there. And on the flip side, it seemed like the Raiders could do anything when it came to throwing down the field, especially deep down the field. Geno Smith at times had really good time in the pocket to make things happen. And I'm telling you, that Raider team looked as competent and as comfortable in a game. They never felt like they were really out of it. I watched it pretty much from start to finish, and they surprised me with how good they were in both sides of the football. And so I'm giving the Raiders the kudos here at number 1 for me.
Yeah, so my number 1, I think it's not necessarily a team. The biggest surprise for me, Derrick Henry fumbling the football, fumbling the game away. I could not believe it when I saw this happen in the game. This is a guy who over the last 2 seasons, the last 2 seasons, has fumbled the ball only 3 times. And a guy of his size that has his tenure in the league and the caliber of player that he is, you're depending on him to hold on to the ball, let alone, make a first down. And I just thought it was a foregone conclusion at that point that they would just run this ball out with the power running game behind Derrick Henry. And the fact that Ed Oliver was able to go through that line and punch that ball out was so impressive. And that was the biggest surprise for me in week 1 of the NFL
I want to
season.
say Ed Oliver, MVP of that game. I know people give Josh Allen props for the comeback on it, but Ed Oliver played like Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
He really did.
Yeah.
He
So
really did.
there's always a guy that's not going to be a quarterback that has to get the props, and I think he definitely deserves him.
Yeah.
That was Phil's 5 at 5.
Feel pretty good about that. Certainly feel good about that. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, the Bonatti Blitz. We're ranking the games next on 1430 ESPN.
Summer is here, and the hottest deals are at Valley Pure. For premium indoor house flower to tasty edibles, smooth vapes, must-have concentrates, and refreshing cannabis drinks, we've got everything you love at prices that keep you coming back for more. Stock up for your summer fun with unbeatable discounts across all Valley Pure locations. Whether you're looking to relax, celebrate, or spark up some good vibes in the sun, Valley Pure has the deals to keep the season rolling with easy online ordering and curbside pickup right from the app.
Hey Bulldog fans, Marcus McMarron here. On the field, it's all about trust, performance, and results. That's why you got to go to Ed Dina's Auto Center. They treat you like family with unbeatable prices and a winning lineup of new and pre-owned vehicles. Don't just sit on the sidelines. Get in the game with a ride you can count on. Visit Ed Dina's Auto Center today, where the deals are always a touchdown.
At FFB, we know behind every business is a person. That's why we're more than a bank. We're a partner, a farming-focused bank for hard workers, a future-forward bank for big dreamers, and a family-friendly bank for the next generation of owners. From first ideas to major milestones, we're here to help you chase your goals and score big. So what can FFB mean for your business? Find out at ffb.bank. That's ffb.bank. FFB Bank. Let's win together.
Sports fans of the Central Valley, are you ready to step up your game day grilling?
Step into the Butcher Boss and discover winning flavors the champions crave. Ask about their 5 for $35 deal, where you can feed up to 5 people for $35 every day. Located right off the 41 north of Avenue 11, stop by the Butcher Boss today and become the boss of your barbecue.
Get your business noticed and stand out from the crowd by visiting MegaPrints. Working with the Valley's most prestigious and high-profile businesses since 1998, we print and install custom-designed signs for businesses of all types and sizes. From yard signs to banners to wallpaper and fleet graphics, MegaPrints has the state-of-the-art capability to turn the signage you've dreamed of into a reality. Visit megaprints.com today to see our work and what we can do for your business.
Mike Dermanuel Jr. of Hub International Insurance Group.
People that have homes, this is their most significant asset, and our job is to protect the assets and to give impartial and good advice. I think our growth reflects the amount of trust people have in us.
Hub International. Learn more at hubinternational.com, license number 0757776.
If our clients succeed, we succeed, and I think that's what we work on every day.
Craving big flavor? Head to Me and Ed's Victory Grill in Fresno. Bite into the legendary Victory Burger, dig into the fall-off-the-bone ribs, or share the ultimate Victory Platter with friends. From those legendary Me and Ed's pizzas to fresh salads, cold drinks, and a warm hometown vibe, every bite and sip is a win. Watch the game, catch up with friends, or bring the family. Me and Ed's Victory Grill in Granite Park, Fresno. Don't miss ESPN's Major Wager Monday Night Football every week. Come hungry, leave a champion. Victory tastes better here.
From the roar of Valley Children's Stadium to the heart of the Red Wave, Fresno State football ignites the Valley, and Precision Civil Engineering is proud to help power that momentum. Named 2024's best engineering firm by the Business Journal, Precision Civil Engineering delivers top-tier planning, surveying, and design building, the backbone of the Central Valley. Proud partners of Fresno State Athletics, because when the dogs rise, the Valley rises. Go Dogs! Visit precisioneng.net today.
ESPN Fresno, the Valley's local sports leader. All right, my favorite time of the week, it is the Bonatti Blitz. Bonatti Blitz brought to you by Grocery Outlet. Grocery Outlet, we are doing our Tailgate Ready promotion contest. If you want to win 2 tickets and $100 to your tailgate, 2 tickets to Fresno State football, go visit your local Grocery Outlet in Sanger, Kerman, Northwest Fresno, downtown Fresno, southeast Fresno. Those locations participating in our ESPN Fresno Tailgate Ready contest. We just picked our winner for this Saturday's game. We have still 4 more giveaways to get to for this season, so still a chance to win. Once you enter, you're in the entry for good. So be sure to visit your local Grocery Outlet today and enter the Tailgate Ready contest. All right, should be an interesting slate. Tanvir, initial thoughts on this week 2 so far from the ranking side of it? No. It's a lot of slop. Yeah. All right, let's play the music. Yes, week 2. We still don't know anything. That's for dang sure. But I do know one thing. This is the worst game of the week. Dolphins, Patriots in Miami. Welcome to the new worst team in the NFL club, Miami. You're here. They have no juice whatsoever. The vibes are absolutely terrible. That's not football analysis. That's just me feeling the humanity that is surrounding this Dolphins program, which is horrendous. The Patriots, man, what a stinker on Sunday. They got to win and get a victory. The only reason I'm watching is because I root for one of these teams. Otherwise, I am out. I'm so glad we aligned. I'm so glad we aligned. Next up, Ravens and Browns. This is in Baltimore, right? I just want to make sure I got that right. The Browns had a chance to beat Cincy, but tough ask to see how this offense performs. Let's be honest. I've heard Dolphins fans still want Joe Flacco after that performance in Week 1. That's how bad Dolphins fans are. Sorry, we got to talk Browns-Ravens. The Ravens are going to make this over early. I know there's a sleeper potential or whatever with the Browns, but when they have a player with the kicker whose last name I literally don't think I can pronounce on air, they're not winning this football game. Give me the Ravens by a lot. I just hope they don't rest Derrick Henry by the third quarter. If they didn't lose last week, I think that was in the cards. Yeah. Next up, the Saints and the 49ers sit here. I get it. We're a 49ers station. We got to be, cognizant of what they are. But let's be fair. Big caveat. No George Kittle. No potential Brock Purdy. Maybe you can lock in because the Mac Jones experience is as drunk as one can be in terms of a football game. But we are seeing if Spencer Rattler is going to get what I think is going to be his first win of his NFL career, I'm not here for it. Get this one off the schedule. And let's just look at the box score and see the Niners win by 17 and call it a game. Oh my gosh. 2019, where'd you go? Next up, I have the Cardinals and the Panthers here, and I think it's the Panthers that are bringing this one down for me. Boy, they stunk on Sunday in terms of that, and it didn't take a thunderstorm to prove that for them. Bryce Young, the decision-making, it ain't it. I'm already out, and it should be an interesting game against the Cardinals who like to play with their food. Seems like they do that. Already evident from Week 1. It'll be a close game. Feels like a Chris Myers special. Can't wait to see it. And by can't wait, it's going to be a beautiful disaster. That's fair. Next up. I can't believe I have this low, but I'm putting the Cowboys and the Giants here. I mean, the Cowboys have been watchable. They were watchable in Week 1. I'll take it. I'll be interested in seeing what they can do. And obviously, they're going to be facing another tough pass rush with the Giants. I'm still going to be evident of that. But let's be honest. If Russ can't cook against this defense, then what the hell are they actually doing? Oh, boy. Yeah. I picked them as an underdog. They didn't win. They're dead to me. That's where I'm at. All right. Next up, Titans and Rams. The Rams kind of won ugly against the Texans, and that's fair. The Texans are going to make things ugly in terms of the way their defense plays, but the Rams made more plays than they needed to in terms of getting a victory. Nate Landman, I love him. He is phenomenal. That's the best punch-out I've ever seen in the NFL. No holds barred. Tricky test going into Tennessee, but the more I think about this game, this is going to be more tough for Tennessee to see if they can overcome. I prophesize that this is going to be a trouble game for the Rams, but the football side of me says it'll go differently. Either way, weird game, probably going to be a last-minute possession potentially for either team, but it'll be strange. Rough. Yeah. Next up, Bengals and Jaguars here. It might be lower than I think some people think, but Cincy was kind of bad this week. Nobody's talking about how bad Cincy's offense was in terms of that game against Cleveland. I think they got outgained 100 yards in the second half by Cleveland in terms of that game. Jacksonville, I have the stock. I bought stock in Jacksonville this season. I get it. I'm one of the few that are on Jacksonville Island, but I'll take it. And I'm curious to see if a win like this for Jacksonville can move their needle a little bit higher than people think. Since he did not impress me at all last week in terms of, like I said, against Cleveland. So you got to believe the offense will wake up and perform a little bit better. But if they can't do that against Cleveland, then I don't know what they got against Jacksonville. Next up, I got the Lions and the Bears. You know what's interesting about this game? One team is coming out of this game 0-2 in the division. That's rough to start 2 weeks in. So you'll have the stakes in this football game. It's going to feel desperation time. Bears have a lot to prove that they're not the team they were last year. They're already kind of showing it from that Monday night game. The Lions, red alert if they don't get this game this week as well. So I expect some good fireworks potentially in this game. Last year's Thanksgiving game was really, I thought, the most entertaining I've seen of Caleb Williams this season or in his career so far. I could see this having a little more juice coming down to the end. I'm interested in Lions-Bears. Wow. Yeah. All right. Next up, I have the Steelers and the Seahawks here. I think both of these teams played like I don't think they actually are. I think Seattle can be better on the offensive side, and they can do that against the Steelers defense potentially. And on vice versa, Seahawks defense certainly was a nuisance to the Niners offense, and I think they can be more of a nuisance against Aaron Rodgers. I think this game will be close. I think this game will be competitive. Also, I just aesthetically have a sicko love for the 2005 Super Bowl when the Seahawks and Steelers played. I think it's one of the weirdest Super Bowls we've ever had in NFL history. Hasselbeck versus Roethlisberger, look it up. If Rodgers wins, I still don't think I'm ready to say he's back, but I have it on the tip of my tongue. I am a hater. I'm there. No Randall L. to throw the deep ball, though. There we go. Next up, our first primetime game of the week sits here, and I got Texans and Buccaneers living at it. I think the Texans' offense was something I just don't want to watch again. It'll put me to sleep in terms of it. I get it. It was the Rams. It was their ferocious pass rush. Guess what the Buccaneers have up in that front? They got some guys who can go after it as well. The Bucs' strange performance against Atlanta. I think they look to be better. By the way, Todd Bowles, 7-0 since 2022 in weeks 1 and 2 with the Buccaneers. I don't know if this game will be close. It could get out of hand quick if the Texans can't keep up with Tampa's offensive prowess. Emeka Egbuka, we're learning how to say his name, and I'm sure we'll be hearing Joe Buck call his name potentially a lot in week 2. He helped me a lot, despite stitches in his eye. Next up, the Colts and the Broncos sit here and just missing out on the top 5. I have them at number 6 overall. I'm ready to see a competent offense that I thought would suck versus an offense that sucked that I thought would be competent. And it's these two teams that are going at it in terms of that. The Broncos have a lot to make up for that Tennessee game that they desperately wanted to give away. And the Colts look to pick on what they could potentially build off of what they had in week 1. But let's be fair. It could be a mismatch. It could get ugly because Denver's defense surely will be much better than Miami's. But I want to see them prove it. I'm there and I'm interested and I want to watch it happen for real in the real time. So even though this could have blowout potential if things go desperately wrong, the Broncos have something to prove to me, and I think the Colts have something to prove to me, and I want to see what team wins out in this game. There it is. Here's my top 5. Next up, I had the Jets and the Bills here at my top 5. I can't believe I'm saying it. I want to watch Jets football. Is that crazy for me? And we'll see what they can do against this Buffalo team who, let's be fair, it was facing Derrick Henry. They had a real time struggling against a running quarterback and a running back that was going at it. And to see if that Breece Hall / Justin Fields, what we call it, the Kirkland brand version of the Ravens potentially, could go up against Buffalo. They had real issues in stopping it. But Ed Oliver was a monster, like we said in the previous segment. We'll see. But Josh Allen's Josh Allen. Buffalo has been impossible to beat in the AFC East. They're one of the best records we've seen in quite some time, like Brady-esque in terms of wins in the division so far. Jets need this one, I would say, because even though it can feel good about two games where they faced against some good opponents, 0-2 is not acceptable for the Jets. Mm-hmm. Next up, Chiefs and Eagles sits here at number 4. And yes, a Super Bowl matchup's really nice. A Super Bowl matchup is going to provide a lot of context to what you could see from last year. But let's remember what happened last year. If the Chiefs are regressing like we may have saw in week 1, and the Eagles are the Eagles, who, I don't know, I'm throwing out what I saw in week 1 from the Eagles because I didn't like it. Maybe they bounce back and get it done this way. It could become an ugly game if it goes the way we see it from week 1 and versus the Super Bowl as well. It could be close. It's in Kansas City. It's Kansas City's home opener. Things could get weird and squirrely in Kansas City as well. So it could be a close game. But I'm hedging my bet here just on the simple fact of I saw what happened in the Super Bowl. It could be the same result. Oh, of course you do. Next up, Sunday Night Football, Vikings and Falcons. Oh man, I really didn't understand why they put this on Sunday Night Football, but the NFL scheduling anchors, they know what they're doing with the national championship rematch. I suddenly like watching J.J. McCarthy play football. Let's see if he can put it together for 4 corners. Hey, I think Penix kind of showed something in the clutch as well with that final drive, even though it took forever for them to punch it in. I like what I saw from Michael Penix in terms of the clutch opportunity. Tampa Bay was just a better team down the stretch. And let's be fair, he put him in a game-tying situation to send it to overtime. That's what you got to do as a quarterback. So we'll see what young quarterback can step up in this one. I liked the matchup. One team is going to get out of here with a victory. I think a lot of people are going to really enjoy this football game on Sunday in Minneapolis. That's fair. Next up, my number 2 game of the week. Monday Night Football, Raiders and Chargers. I'm not going to underestimate this game. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to give the respect the Chargers and the Raiders deserve from their Week 1 performances. I would say they were 2 of the best teams who came out of Week 1. Who steps up and grabs control of this division right away to get to 2-0? That's what I'm looking for. The Raiders impressing me with their performance in New England. The Chargers coming out with a long week, going up and taking control against the Chiefs in Brazil. Who is going to wear out each other faster in terms of this game? I think this is going to have some really good elements to it. It's going to be in Vegas, in the black hole, in the spaceship. Can't wait for it on a Monday night to wrap up Week 2. And finally, my number 1 game of the week. Thursday Night Football, Packers and Commanders. Give me these 2 going at it. 2 1-0 teams. Jaden Daniels, just a little bit businesslike up against the Giants. I wouldn't say I was the most impressed with the Commanders, but they got the job done. They looked to build into the momentum into the short week. The Packers, everybody's darling. And man, did they look like it, handling everything they did against the Detroit Lions. A lot of people loving the Packers. We'll see what the Commanders' answer is to this game, whether it's going to be Micah Parsons getting stronger going into this game against Jaden Daniels. Commanders, man, if they get this victory, there's another conversation to be had about this team and where they're capable. They're backing up what they have if they get this win on Thursday night in the road. I cannot wait for Thursday Night Football. Glad we can agree. And that is the Bonatti Blitz, brought to you by Grocery Outlet. Feels good about that ranking. Any surprises for you? Any surprises? Or what? No, you know, I might have missed it a little. I could probably put it above Steelers, Seahawks, Texans, Bucks. I think that's where I said. Colts, Broncos. Maybe I'm a little high on it, but I think that's an interesting one. I get it. All right. Let's take a break, Tanvir. Let's close out the show and send everybody home happy. We'll be right back with more Behind the Bench right after this on 1430 ESPN.
When heroes step off the streets and onto the field, it's game time. Join us for the Heroes County Baseball Classic Wednesday, September 10th at Pete Biden Field, Bob Bennett Stadium. Pre-game festivities kick off at 4 with lawn games, batting tunnels, studio golf, and food trucks. Gates open at 5:30 and first pitch is at 6:15. It's the Fresno Police Officers Association taking on the Fresno Fire Department in a classic battle of first responders. $10 general admission and kids under 5 are free with an adult. Purchase tickets today at FresnoPOA.org.
Football is back, and so is your shot at big wins. With DraftKings Pick 6, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL, your game day instincts can score you real money fast. Here's the play. Just pick more or less on 2 of the player stats. I'm glad we have the same worst one, too. I thought it was just being a little biased, but... New DraftKings customers get $50 in bonus picks with just a $5 entry. This season, player instincts. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use the code KFIG. That's code KFIG. Play just $5, get $50 in Pick 6 bonus picks. Make the call, ride the upside in partnership with DraftKings 6. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 bonus picks that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Prices on steel and materials are up everywhere, but you can still get unbeatable value for your residential, commercial, industrial, swing by Pacific Steel Supply, Ashland and Parkway in Fresno, off Highway 99, or visit PacificSteelSupply.com.
Life gets messy, but your space doesn't have to. We are Rising Shine Janitorial and Commercial Cleaning Services, where we clean because your time is important. From offices to schools to medical facilities, Rising Shine handles
Great staff and standards. The jobs are small, rise and shine. Never lose contact. So let us take the stress off your plate. Contact Rise and Shine Janitorial and Commercial Cleaning Services. Call 1-649-5391 or visit RiseShine559.com.
Out here at a gas station.
It's Phil Benatti here with Behind the Bench.
Tune in to
Tailgates is the food. The best place to get ready for it is visiting Grocery Outlet in Furman, Sanger, and Fresno Southeast, downtown, and Northwest stores. Stock up and save big on quality meats, snacks, drinks, beer, and wine in same quality as the big chain stores, but at lower prices. And while you're there, sign up for the Tailgate Ready contest to win a pair of tickets to each registered home game and $100 for you tailgate only at participating Grocery Outlet stores here in the Central Valley.
Paid for by the American Hospital Association. The COVID-19 pandemic has taken its toll on the healthcare workforce, especially nurses.
I think that's when Jake hit that the Raiders preseason winner.
Women and men who dedicate themselves to saving lives deserve a safe and healthy practice environment, free of violence and
You got him one extra game check.
Is urging the Attorney General to support legislation that will create federal protections from intimidation and assault for healthcare workers.
Bullard and Bakersfield at McLean.
To feel safe on the job.
So yeah, we're gonna be at McLean's field. McLean.
Hospitals can insist on zero tolerance for aggressive behavior. Visit AHA.org to learn more.